Spurs game last night.
Hey, Swiper. How'd you enjoy the Spurs game last night?
It was cool. Hey, Swiper. Are you excited to go to New York soon? I am. Hey, Swiper. Are you going to see Chill soon? Yeah. Hey, Swiper. Are you excited to get bagels? Yeah, I am. Very.
Hey, Swiper. Are you excited to make good takes today?
Like every day, Brody.
Got it. Chill, Mars, John. How you guys doing?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain.
Today, we are going to talk about the biggest risers and fallers in the NBA right now. Obviously, we have some streams that are trending upwards, and then we have some teams that aren't really looking too good right now. So, it's April, and we know the playoffs are right around the corner. So let's discuss the teams that have, I guess, positive momentum and progress going into the playoffs, and teams that, well, they need to get their shit together like yesterday. Otherwise, it might not look too good for them. So as of right now, we're going to kind of start in really an obvious place. We'll start with the team that has the best winning streak in the NBA. Is it anything the Thunder need to be worried about? No? Good. We can move on to the next team.
No, whoa. Hang on, Ron.
I'll put my break.
Yeah. Hold on, Ron. I mean, sure, they are rolling right now, but they got like a 15-game lead in the Western Conference, something ridiculous like that. So they're gonna run away with the Western Conference. I'm not arguing that point.
Well, they've been running away with the Western Conference, to be fair.
Yeah, but with that being said, right, health is a big deal. So we got to make sure that Chet stays healthy because that's been an issue. Hartenstein broke his hand earlier this year, so I think health is a big issue.
hurt his hand yesterday.
I don't think it was anything significant, though.
No.
Yeah, he did, but I don't think it was anything significant. No. So I think the injury bug with OKC is probably the biggest thing that they need to concern themselves with. So as long as they can stay healthy, I think that they'll be fine. But that is a worry for them because Chet has shown a history of being injured. So if he can stay healthy, I think they'll be right in the middle of it.
Well, yeah, Chet can sit the rest of the season if I'm OKC. It's like, look, bro, you just go get you be cool right now. We're gonna coast our way to the playoffs and then we'll get you right back in the lineup.
Well, really, the first round. You can sit the first round if they want. Depends on who they play. If they get the Kings.
Yeah, I would say the same thing about the Celtics. Like, if I'm the Celtics, yo, KP, we got you, bro. Like, we don't need you to the second round, maybe even.
Oh, you don't need me versus the fully healthy Chicago Bulls team? No. They could probably beat the Bulls with Tatum, Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Horford, and Luke Cornett as their starting five, and I think they could win that series. Pretty convincing.
Say that one more time.
Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Luke Cornett.
No Jaylen Brown, by the way. Jaylen Brown's out of the lineup.
They could probably win that series.
Derek White, no Drew Holiday. They can beat this Bulls team.
They can beat the Hawks.
Wow.
They can beat the Hawks.
Shit.
I don't know about that.
Hawks?
I don't know. I don't know what it is about Trey, but I could see the Hawks stealing the game, maybe even 2 off Boston. I could see that happening. I 100% could see them stealing the game. Maybe
have we talked about Zachary Reese-Shea yet?
No, not in a while.
No, we haven't.
Not the way we should be.
No, I've been singing his praises all season. You know what I'm saying? So that'd be a conversation I would love. But
my question with Oklahoma City, because again, if the playoffs started today, right? The play-in tournament has already been played. The playoffs start today. They got to see Memphis in round 1, right? They got to see Memphis in round 1. I think they serve Memphis. I don't think they beat Memphis. I think they serve them dudes in 4. I don't think Memphis gets a game from them, right? And the Clippers end up seeing Houston. But I want to stay with Oklahoma City. Is there any, in your estimation, is there any way that Memphis gets a game off of these dudes? Anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a way. I mean, I think there's a way where the perimeter players just go cold from 3, and John Morant's making his threes. Luke Kennard goes crazy from 3. Jalen Wells, they're running up and down the floor. They're playing really good defense. A lot of calls go their way. I think there's a way they can get a game. Do I think I would bet on them probably losing in 5 more than I would bet them losing in 4. But again, with how OKC attacks the ball, how they rotate, and with Ja now elevating his time of possession and him having the ball more and him playing a lot more pick and roll ever since Taylor Jenkins has been fired, I don't necessarily trust their offense as much, a little bit more now, because now they're kind of like reverting back to their 22nd percentile half court offense like they've had in previous years.
Yep.
So in the playoffs, that may be ugly, especially against the best defense in the league that generate the most turnover. So I would probably say 5 games, maybe even swept.
It sounds like they have to do something astronomical considering what Oklahoma City has been doing all year long. And Ja has been a less than jump shooter this season, particularly at the long ball line. I think he's shooting a little over 30%, something like that. And I don't think he's been good this year in pull-up jump shots. And Oklahoma City does a great job. They don't do a good job. They do a great job in keeping guys in front of them. You have a very difficult time getting downhill against Casey Wallace. Very difficult time against Alex Caruso getting downhill. And I think that that's what Ja wants to do with this offense now with the ball in his hands. Now, can we keep Triple J out of the paint? Because I felt like Triple J, his offense, in terms of his scoring, particularly with the weak hand, has improved a lot more this year than it has in the past. I mean, I watched him give Giannis the business. I watched him, give a number of dudes the business this year, just in terms of his overall one-on-one game. But the question is how is this team going to continue defensively? Because I don't think that they have enough to slow down Oklahoma City defensively. And I think Oklahoma City has much more defensively to slow them down.
Well, we've seen OKC handle teams that use their bigs as like ball handlers. They're going to swarm Jaren Jackson the second he gets the ball, especially if it's like a bad matchup for the Thunder. Let's say Jaren Jackson gets switched on like a Casey Wallace, even though sometimes that may not be a bad matchup, but they're going to look at it as, okay, we're going to swarm the ball and he's going to have to be a ball handler now. Mm-hmm. It's not just going to be like, oh, I can handle the ball too. No, you're going to have to use your ball handling to create for us. And that's where I think Jaren Jackson can struggle just a little bit, especially if you have Lou Dort swarming at the ball, Jalen Williams, and then you have to get through that and then meet Chet Holmgren or Isaiah Hartenstein at the rim. So that's something that can make them struggle as well.
Fair enough.
I think Memphis gets a game or two. Personally, I think it goes 6.
How, Ron? Like, what does Memphis do to get a game or even 2 games? What can they do to get a game or 2 games off of Oklahoma City? What has to happen with Oklahoma City for Memphis to get 2 games?
Memphis is just better than you guys give them credit for. I know you guys look at Memphis and say, oh, they have terrible half-court offense and they don't do this and Ja isn't playing this good. I don't know where this just crazy myth that Ja just fell off the planet of Earth happened from.
Ron,
I really don't. You seen him get busy the other night against Steph. Gave him 36. Ja still got the goods.
I didn't say
Ja is still Ja. Regardless of whether his numbers are down, Ja is still explosive. And he still can easily be the second best player in that series. Easily.
Considering
and then you have Jaren Jackson Jr., who will be the second best player in that series.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll ask me, why do I think that they'll get a game or 2? Because I believe that they have the second and the third best player in that series. And I believe Ja Morant can get you a game and Jaren Jackson can get you a game. And furthermore, you guys talk all of this crap about their offense not being good. They're still the 6th best offense in the league. And they still have been a top 5 offense or around that ballpark for a majority of the season. They were a top 5 defense earlier in the season. Now they've fallen to 11, but they still have a good defensive personnel. Jalen Wells, now I'm not saying he's going to check. I'm not saying he's going to check SGA, but if somebody can guard him good in the playoff series, I believe Jalen Wells is one of those guys, one of a handful of guys that can give SGA some problems. Also, too, I haven't even mentioned Desmond Bane. I haven't mentioned that this is one of the deeper teams in the league. We don't know yet about their coach. I like him. He was a storied overseas coach. He did some very good things in the Euro Cup. But as of right now, just what I look at on paper and what I look at with their top 2 main guys, Jaren Jackson being a good third wheel, I just like their roster. I like their team, and I do think that they have firepower. And they have the number one pace in the NBA. So OKC, if you want to run, we can do that too.
Well, I think that's the flip side though, Ron. With them having the number 1 pace, they're going up against the number 1 defense in the league and the best perimeter defense in the league. And that's going to be their mantra, to slow them down in that aspect particularly. And we've already seen what they look like in the half court pick and dive and pick and roll. And the fact that the fact that Oklahoma City is one of the best switching teams in the league, I don't really see that there being any mismatches on the floor. The only thing that I think you could possibly target Hartenstein and foul baiting him, because he's been prone to foul. But with that being said, you still have guys like Chet who can clean up any messes around the rim. And the fact that Oklahoma City on the perimeter, how they shoot gaps and they make their defense, they turn their defense into offense. I just think that just makes them so much more viable than Memphis. I'd be surprised if Memphis got a game off of them. I would be.
Can't hear you. You're muted.
I just think Memphis is too good of a team to get swept. And I know OKC is a historical team and they're that good. I just don't see it happening. I
said earlier when we were in San Francisco, when Jordan had said that they were getting swept in the first round, I didn't see anybody sweeping them. And then this is where we are today with this Memphis team. I don't see Oklahoma. I'd be surprised if Memphis got a game off of Oklahoma City. I would be.
Do you think they're going to just go under every screen that they set for John Moran in the postseason? Like, that's just going to give them an advantage if they're just going to go under the screen and recover that way instead of trying to try to play high on it.
Well, no, because they got bigs. I'm sorry, they got bigs that can play drop, and they got bigs who are good at playing drop. Like Chet's good in drop. I think Chet's really good in drop. I also think Hartenstein's good in drop too. He's not great, but I think he's good in drop. I think guys like Case and Wallace are really good at navigating screens. I think SGA is really good at navigating screens too. We see what Lou Dort looks like as a screen navigator. So if you're gonna live with something, I think you can live with Ja shooting 17, 18, 22, 23 feet long twos and short threes. I think you'll live with that, but I don't think that them playing drop would be an issue because they have bigs who can play drop. This isn't going up against Cat and playing drop. This isn't going up against Brook Lopez playing drop. No, I think this is they have viable bigs who can play drop.
But transitioning into the Grizzlies, because they're one of the teams that actually are slumping right now, and they're heading into, well, just not so positive of a direction. They've fallen. Remember, at one point they were the 2 seed. They've fallen all the way down to the 8th seed
in like 2 weeks, Ron.
It's crazy.
In like
a 4-game losing streak, 2-8 in their last 10 games. Is there hope?
I believe they haven't beaten a above 500 team since February, if I remember correctly.
I think I saw that.
Where did things go wrong?
Their culture.
I really hope those. Go ahead, Swipe.
No, I think it all starts on the inside. I think it all starts on where you are, like, and how you're in-house, just from coaching to the front office to the players, all of it. I just think they're kind of off-kiltered right now, and that affects winning and losing more than anything else in the
NBA. Mars, you have any thoughts on the Grizzlies?
I mean, they just fired their coach. I don't know what's going on over there. John Morant's getting more pick and rolls now, so I don't know if it was Taylor Jenkins whose idea was to just stop running pick and rolls, because they're doing it again. And John Morant looks good. I wasn't high on them in the playoffs anyway. I didn't think they would be the 8th seed, though. I probably had them around 4, 5, or 6. But yeah, I wasn't really high on them when they were really good in the regular season. So I'm not particularly.
What didn't you like about them, Mars, during the regular season? Because I mean, they were up as high as the number 2 seed. And before you answer that, I kind of know where you're going, because Houston is the number 2 seed and you ain't that high on your boys. So I'm wondering what your logic is with Memphis. What about them didn't you like?
I think Jaren Jackson is still a flawed offensive player, and I think in the playoffs we'll see that. I thought, this is obviously pre-coach firing, I thought their offense was not going to be viable in the postseason. Your most dynamic offensive player is being minimized because you're running everyone one-on-one and trying to create rim pressure without creating advantages. I thought it was just very weird. I think they're a team that relies heavily on pace and transition play. That tends to be nullified a lot in the postseason for a variety of factors. I think Zach Edey will probably get played off the floor against certain matchups. So you're going to have Jaren Jackson at the 5, and I'm not a big fan of Jaren Jackson at the 5. So I just think they're a very flawed team in a playoff setting.
Why, Mars?
So
why don't you like Jaren Jackson at the 5? What's the problem there? He's one of the best. He's one of the best rim protectors in the game.
You know the problem.
Oh well, no. The rebounding contributes to it if that's what you want me to go to. But he's also just wondering. He's not a great drop big. He's not the best pick and roll defender there is. He's not really an anchor big. He's a roamer. He's a backline defender. That's where he provides most of his value, and that's maximized when you have a real big next to him. It's why I wasn't particularly high on his defense last year. Some of that was because he had an offensive workload that was probably too high. And then this year, I think with Zach Edey next to him, and when they've gone to their double big lineups, I think Jaren Jackson's been better. But yes, the rebounding does contribute to that because when you take Zach Edey off the floor now, Jaren Jackson and Santi Aldama are your two biggest rebounders. That's a problem. And now they've lost Brandon Clark. That's a problem. So yeah, I'm not particularly high on Memphis. I didn't know they were the 8 seed.
Yeah, that just happened yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, I'm just still praying on them to be the 7 seed. That's where I'm at. But yeah, just not very high.
Ron, today is Thursday. Ron, if I'm not mistaken, I think Sunday they were like the 4th seed. Sunday. It just passed.
That's how bad. That's how bad it can be in the Western Conference.
Yes, they were the 4th seed.
That's where
you go from. I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, John D. So I go from hosting a playoff series within a week. I go from hosting a playoff series to I'm fighting for my playoff life in the play-in tournament. That's what's going on right now.
That's how it's been all season. This is how it's been all season. It's been like a 2-3 game separator between like 4 different seeds. It's like the worst thing you can do is lose 3 straight games. It's the worst thing.
The Rockets clinched the playoffs, so good times.
Look at this.
And 50 wins. And 50 wins. Hold on, we gonna get to the Rockets in a second. I just want to talk about the 3-game tie right now between the 6th seed Minnesota Timberwolves, 7th seed Los Angeles Clippers, and the 8th seeded Memphis Grizzlies. They all are at 44 and 32. And they are tied. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the season, but that's definitely a section that we need to focus on. And the Warriors are right there too. They are 44 and 31. So they're just a half game ahead of those 3 teams.
Yeah, there's no easy matchup in the West playoffs. Everybody's going to be in for a dogfight.
Every series,
besides OKC.
In some way, shape, or form. Like they'll still be in dogfights in games, but overall, I don't think OKC just has too much. Like even yesterday, SGA was 10 or 26 and didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Yeah, it didn't matter at all. Made no difference. And
I like to think Detroit did a good job on him too, Swiper. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, Sar Thompson. No, they did good, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't it legitimately doesn't matter. Like if you don't have a top end, high end talent, it doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do about it. He was a plus 30 in it. Plus 30. Yeah, he was a plus 30 last night on 33 points on 26 shots. And
I mean, they just blew out the Bulls, and the Bulls played zone the whole game.
They smoked them by 30.
Like we're at a point where teams are playing zone the whole game to try and do whatever they can. It obviously didn't work, but it's
right.
They're quite good.
Coach Dagno said, "You want to play zone? We will bombs away on you dudes."
Yeah, zone hasn't worked against the Thunder since maybe that Timberwolves game, whenever that Timberwolves game was. And before that, it was like when they lost to the Cavs went to a zone and they
did in the fourth
quarter.
They
stopped making shots.
And they stayed in the zone.
Those are like the most 2 recent times it's worked. But since Chet's been back and they got this double bigs and zone doesn't work. I don't know what to tell you. Zone.
And the bad part about it is that the Bulls stayed in the zone. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City's cracking the long ball all night long, and they stayed in it.
Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
Oh,
lose by 50.
Goodness. Unbelievable.
Stick to your principles.
I know that with this Houston Rockets team, I'm not gonna say that y'all, because I'm looking at the standings to Ron's point, and I know how quickly it could go. Houston was saved because Mars, you were almost out on your boys.
Yeah, when Fred VanVleet was out, we couldn't win a game. Yeah.
I think you had a 5 or 6 game losing streak, and it was bad. You had dropped. I think you had dropped to like 5 at that point. And you had a
this was in January or December?
February. It was February.
It was in February. It was right after the
All-Star. I was saying they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if we missed the play. If we missed the playoffs,
it was right after and then they went on that run. Yeah, but then they went on that run. Now,
yeah, Fred VanVleet came back.
For all that you guys do, I think that Clipper series I think you got a really good shot against him. I do. Even though Kawhi Leonard could turn back into Kawhi Leonard again, and Kawhi Leonard can give you flashes up. I think I'm off Kawhi Leonard 2018, 2019 Kawhi Leonard. I'm past that dude. I'm past 2021 Kawhi Leonard. I'm past that dude. What I'm hoping that I can get, flashes of 23 Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs before he went down with that knee injury. If I could get some of that guy, I think that I'm going to have a really competitive series against Houston. I think you guys can beat them, though. I do. I think that you guys can beat them off the strength of your defense. I know how you feel about your offense, but I think defensively, I think that you can hold their offense down. I do.
Their defense might be better than ours.
Are you sure about that, boss?
No, that's why I said might.
Really?
That's why I said might.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I said might, but it might be.
I think it might. I think it is probably more than likely. It is in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is more.
Fundamental
doesn't sound like the right word, but it's more orthodox.
Zoo Dunn, DJJ, Kawhi, Harden. I mean, that's like, that's
so
top
swipe
of the
up.
line.
Yeah, but respectfully, there's like Chris Dunn. We don't have to worry about him on.
You
on
don't.
defense.
You can play him off the floor.
Hey man, he's shooting. He's shooting well as of late. I don't want to hear this.
That's cool. I assure you, Şengün
42%.
Şengün will be guarding Chris Dunn.
PJ Washington series. Right.
Yeah, maybe if that happens, then
we'll live with that. 100%.
If that happens,
James Harden,
Şengün will be guarding Chris Dunn.
If his hamstring
is the middle,
if his hamstring is on his leg, I think he should.
I mean, we've defended James Harden quite well this year, but then we also didn't have to defend James Harden with Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi.
So it's a different formula. We've beat the Clippers every time we played them, and we've been comfortable. But we haven't played the Clippers whole. We haven't played them whole, so there's no sample of anything to do with that. I am very curious to see how Amen, Tari, not Jabari. Jabari got fried by Kawhi last year. I remember that vividly. But I'm curious to see how Amen guards Kawhi. I'm curious to see how Tari does. Dylan will match that physicality. I think it'll be an interesting series. I don't want to see it. I know I want to see Memphis. But
my question,
I can see the Rockets winning that series. I could see it.
But you talk to me about the defense with the Clippers. Why is it a scheme thing? Because I'm looking at Houston, and in terms of schemes, when we play zone, we're huge on the front line, right? And if you look at what the Clippers are doing, okay, I can appreciate Zubac being their man in the middle, but with Jabari on the glass, with Sengun on the glass, with Thompson on the glass, when you play zone, not only with them on the glass, with these two guys in the front line, I think that you can protect Van Fleet. Even though he's small, I think you can protect Van Fleet. And then when you come in with Tari, one more time.
Jalen Green is the one who needs more protection. We should dominate the rebound. Like every series we go into, we should. The rebounding is the way we win.
Yeah.
So if we don't dominate on the glass, then that's a problem. But the Clippers are a team we should dominate. Like the only person on their team who I think is a good rebounder is Zubac.
That's it.
Everyone else, they're not great rebounders. Like Kawhi is whatever. James Harden is cool for a guard, but he might be that second best rebounder, which is a problem.
Where's their size, Lars? So. Where's their size? Outside
their size
of
is Zoo. Yeah, their size is Zoo.
And I think that you can.
And then they come in with Ben Simmons as their small ball 5 because they ain't playing Drew Eubanks.
And he's
so
not
we that's our way to win. Outsize, speed, athleticism, offensive rebounds. That's the way of winning. Is that a viable way of winning? We'll see, but that is the way to win. There's no other way about it. We aren't gonna out execute them in the half court. That's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So it will come down to that. But it's possible. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but I think Kawhi is looking more Kawhi than you're giving him credit for. I will say that
100%.
Yeah, he's looking more and more, especially offensively, more and more like Kawhi. And at that point, it's like they have by far the best player in the series. They also have the.
I won't argue that point. That point, I won't argue.
They damn near have the third best player in the series. So I don't know.
I think, and I know this might sound.
Not talking about Norman Powell.
They might have the third best player in the series.
I think they do, but that's a whole different conversation.
Second or best, third, and fourth best player.
Zoo.
First, second, and fifth best player.
First, second, and third. Yeah. First, second, and third.
But to your point,
Norman Powell is not in the. No.
It's Zubac.
Norman Powell is not the fourth best player in the series.
He's not talking about
a rocket will be there.
All right, so you got Kawhi Kawhi, James, Zubac, 1, 2, 3.
Mhm.
And you
Yes.
got Jalen and Şengün.
Amen Thompson.
Jalen, Şengün, Amen.
Amen, maybe Şengün and Jalen. I don't know. Yeah.
But Norman in that group, though, or is he?
Yeah, Norman could be in that group.
He's in that group?
Sure.
Okay.
Mars, I don't think you give Jalen Green enough credit. I think Jalen Green is going to
What?
get busy in this series. I do.
All right.
I do. And you can fight that all you want. Swipe.
Jalen,
I think he's gonna get busy in
if
this series.
Jalen Green
I
plays
do.
like if Jalen Green plays
do.
well, it's cool. If Jalen Green doesn't, like Jalen Green playing well is he gonna make jump shots? If he does, then cool. If he doesn't, then it's over. Like if Jalen Green can't score the ball in the playoffs, we don't have a chance. So either he can score and we have a chance, or he doesn't score and we suck. Well, I do know if anyone is not likely, if anyone has the biggest chance to be a playoff riser, it's him. Just because of how volatile his shot that is. If he goes on a March Jalen Green run in the playoffs, all of a sudden you got a 27-point big game scorer.
Ooh.
So that would be cool. But he's also liable to just.
His most recent game versus the Clippers was good in December.
He's played well against the Clippers in general, if I remember correctly. He's also played well against the Grizzlies in general. So
He has.
yay. But then the last time we played the Grizzlies, they like made a conscious effort to like not let Jalen score, and we lost that game. And I don't know if he played well in that one, but he has a chance. He has a chance. I'm not on the train of the people who seem to think Jalen Green hasn't improved at basketball and still sucks. I'm not on that train, but I'm also not on the train that believes he's an all-star caliber player. So I guess I'm in the neutral zone of Jalen Green helps the Rockets. Jalen Green is flawed. That's where I stand.
Yeah. I never thought he sucked. I just thought he
flawed
was just learning the game. Like you go through your learning curves, you go through good curves, you go through great curves, and you go through your valleys. You go through times where it's like, no, you can't make a shot, you can't make a read. Seems like you can't dribble. It's a bunch of unfortunate turnovers, all of that. But the positive part with Jalen Green is you're starting to see his feel, and you're starting to see him play with some charisma. We starting to see no-look passes. We starting to see him thread the needle. We starting to see him, really find himself. And Jalen Green, he got player of the week last year. He averaged 28 and
last week.
Last week he averaged like 28 and what?
6.
Like he's just looking so much. He's looking like a pro. He's looking like a star.
Yeah, but then he just got benched against the Lakers. So then everyone was like, "Oh, Jalen Green sucks." So it is what it is. Ignore the fact that he's been playing well for a minute. When he had the bad game, he sucks. It happens.
True.
He's a good player. He's a flawed player. You can exploit his flaws in the postseason, especially with our roster. But he's also the type of player where you can get to a point where defense doesn't matter. He can be at that point. Just whether he gets hot from three. It's just I'm not betting on that, but it's possible.
I think Udoka can outcoach Ty Lue too, and I think that this.
I mean, I think we have more. I think we have more things at our disposal. I think we just have.
Well, maybe not.
I don't know if that means he's out coaching him. He just has more tools.
I don't know if that's true. Just because in the past, Ty Lue has ruined the team because he wanted to go small. Thankfully, Zubac is so
small
good
ball
now.
merchant.
Yes, but thankfully, Zubac is so good that he can't take him off the floor anymore for no reason. So. Hopefully,
and also, the Clippers fall off a cliff when Zoo's not on the floor. In part because Zoo is that good, but also because he is the only big on the roster, like the only one. Drew Eubanks is not an NBA player. With all due respect to him, he's not an NBA player. So like they replace Zoo and then they bring in Ben Simmons, who brings his own sort of skill set, but they can't rebound the ball and they have no rim protection. So it's bad. But shout out to Zoo.
Also, I want to continue to sing the Rockets' praises as well. They are the 4th team as of last night to eclipse 50 wins. They got their 50th win last night. Shout out to the Rockets. They have the 4th best record in the NBA. And speaking of 4, I just kind of want to take a trip down memory lane for the last 4 years of the Rockets.
Oh, God.
Now in 2022, they won only 20 games. They went 20 and 62.
Now, stop right there, Ron. Wait. Stop right there, Ron. They won how many games?
20 games.
That was good enough for what? They were at the bottom of the Western Conference. They were the worst team in the Western Conference. 20 games. That was it. They were the worst in the Western Conference.
Thanks for that, Joe.
Yes. Keep going. Keep going.
And I mean, if I went the year before that, they won 17 games. Yes. But the next year, 2023, they won 22 games and they were 22 and 60.
Which is also good enough for the bottom of the Western Conference. Keep going, Ron.
They fire a terrorist named, I can't even remember his name, but they fired a terrorist. Marzo, I'm trying to spare you and not even mention his name, but Steven Silas.
This stuff right here, though. This is very important.
And they hire a guy by the name of Ime Udoka, also known as Ime, who we all know his nickname.
Here we go.
But the next year they go 500. This is last year, and they win 41 games. They go 41-41.
We were having a conversation up here that they could make the play-in tournament. That was going on. We were having
that late March surge. Yeah.
What was the conversation?
We were having a conversation that they could make the play-in tournament. In fact,
play-in tournament, not the playoffs. The play-in tournament.
Mars and I were having a conversation about the Warriors, who he made it clear to me that they own us. Chill, they own us. But if we could beat them, we got a legit shot at making the play-in tournament. Again, Ron, this is a team that was at the bottom of the Western Conference the year before, 2 years in a row. But keep going.
3 years in a row.
I'm sorry, 3 years in a row. Garbage, trash. But keep going.
Now we get to this year, and obviously the year's not done yet, but they are the second seed in the West. Once again, like I said, the fourth best record in the league, and they've won 50 games. They are 50-27.
Even though,
and we are 3 games up of the 3 seed with 5 games to go.
Looks like you got it wrapped.
So hopefully we should have the 2 seed. Hopefully we do have a tough 5 games, so it's not guaranteed, but hopefully we do get the 2 seed, which will be amazing. But obviously
it's been a weird West year for sure.
It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, man.
I mean, I think the West has shook out, like, besides maybe the Suns. I think, I think most of the top 8 teams are probably the teams that people expected. Just swap the Rockets with the Mavs.
Yeah, because nobody could.
Everyone else you would have expected to be in the playoffs. OKC, the Lakers, the Nuggets. People expected the Warriors to be in the playoffs. The Timberwolves,
I think it's more so how jumbled up everything's been this year. Some of that's like the talent level has flattened, but some teams are just not been like.
I mean, to be fair, what is it? A game or 2 separating 5 through 8, something like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They're all in
and
that
since we're on the
same
subject
range.
of games, Mars, okay, so tomorrow, because the season, the regular season ends next Sunday. So tomorrow you got Oklahoma City. I think they beat you.
Of course.
Sunday you got the Warriors.
They beat us
I think
too.
You get them. I think you can't keep losing to them.
Remember,
yes, we can. Yes, we
can.
You
can't keep losing to them.
They're playing for something more than we are.
Yeah, the Warriors are playing the Lakers, and the Nuggets, and back-to-back, and then they got the Houston Rockets.
Like the Warriors need to come as close to winning out as possible, and they have a tough schedule. So they're going.
So do you. You got to hold on to that.
Win out. We're 3 games up. We don't have to win out.
But here's
if the Warriors do their job and beat the Lakers and the Nuggets for us, then guess what? They've helped us anyway. Then we don't have to win because
they helped them, but they helped y'all.
Yeah, realistically, yeah. If they beat the Lakers and the Nuggets, all they've done is kept us at the same spot where we're still 3 games up. So then they can beat us too, and there's no consequence. We're not going to beat the Warriors. We're not going to beat the Warriors. We're just not.
Okay.
You don't keep going, but before you keep going, I want to rewind.
Oh my god!
And get to that OKC game.
Excuse me,
Mars. Okay. Real talk. If you're listening, Jordan and all of Houston, y'all need to bring it that game. That is a playoff battle right there.
I love.
I'm not saying that you guys are going to see them. I'm not saying you guys are going to see them.
We're going to try.
But that is a test for you guys. Now,
OKC schedule is a test, Ron.
No, I get that.
Every game we play is against the playoff team. Every single one.
I get that, but this is against the playoff team, the team in the West,
the one team we're not going to see.
Yeah, okay, true, fair.
We have to get to the conference finals to see them.
No, I get that, but I'm saying this is the biggest battle and the biggest test that you're going to.
Yeah, it's the toughest team to play. Yes,
and so I'm like, this is one of those games. I wouldn't be surprised if MA approaches it that way too. Like, this is one of those games where, what y'all got?
The last time we played OKC, we threw the game. Like, we just didn't play anybody. We started Reed Shepherd. He had 25. We played.
That was Reed Shepherd.
We threw the game. Because you know what? We know we had no chance of beating them. So we just threw the game away. The issue was we ended up losing the second night of the back-to-back to Indiana. So we ended up throwing the OKC game for no reason. But, we know we can't beat OKC. I'm not saying if Ime's smart, he will rest guys for this game again. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a Dylan Brooks. We don't see Fred VanVleet, who also didn't play last night. We don't see a Steven Adams. We don't see those type. We don't see the vets. Jalen Green will play because he's once again hell-bent on playing 82. But Amen Thompson, who might want to rest his ankle, Tari Eason, I wouldn't be surprised if we just rest a bunch of guys. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's the game where if I'm in Udoka, I'm trying to steal that game. I'm trying to fire my troops up just because I feel like that could be one of the biggest confidence boosters going into the playoffs. Okay, we just knocked off OKC. We like that. We bout it. We could beat anybody now.
Each one of these teams that y'all play, sure, they do have something to play for. So you don't think y'all beating the Warriors. Then you got to go to Los Angeles and play the Clippers. I think you can get that game. I do. I think that's a game that you could get. And then you come back home. Nope, I'm sorry. You're still on the road for 3 games because on that Friday, you play the Lakers. That's going to be a tough one. And then you got Denver at home. I don't think Denver plays anybody. I think you beat them.
Yeah, I think Denver going. Yeah, Denver's chilling, I don't think Denver, in my opinion.
I don't think that they are even interested. I think Denver is. Where you guys at right now? Swipe in the 4th spot right now. I think. Yeah, you're in the 4th spot.
They're comfortably in the 4th spot.
Yeah, you're probably chilling. You're probably chilling in that 4th spot. So I can dig it. I think you can. Of these 5 games, could you lose all 5 of them? Yes,
we could. I don't want to go into the playoffs on a 5-game losing streak, though.
No, you don't want to do that. No, but I also think that I think you could win all 5 of these games too, Mars. I do.
That would be great.
I understand how difficult it is to deal with. I understand how difficult it is to deal with Golden State. I do. I understand that with now Jimmy Butler in the lineup and that secondary scorer that they have. But contrary to popular belief, Dylan Brooks does a good job on Steph Curry when he goes up against him. He does a pretty good job against him, and I think that's the linchpin. And I know that, you know, how you guys feel about Steph Curry, because I think Steph Curry is fantastic too, but Dylan Brooks does a good job on him. The question is can you guys slow down the rest of those guys and take care of the basketball on offense more than you've done against other teams? Because they do. I think especially Gary Payton Jr. He does such a good job in forcing turnovers in timely fashion to the game. Like in the second quarter when they're on an 8-0 run, he'll get a pick or a steal in the backcourt and a 3 by Steph Curry, something like that. That'll throw a monkey wrench in what you dudes are trying to do. Straight throw a monkey wrench in what you dudes are trying to do. So I think y'all can beat them.
Luckily, he's hurt for Houston. Obviously, not luckily he's hurt in real life. Like, no one people to be injured, but.
Right.
I'll take 3-2. If the Rockets go 3-2 in their last 5, I'll be very happy.
All right. We talked briefly about the Clippers, but we didn't talk about how the Clippers are 8-2 in their last 10 games and how, well, they're trending in the right direction too. How are we feeling about the Clippers in totality? Now, we talked about them against the Rockets, but we high on the Clippers? We getting good vibes?
I mean, define high. Yeah, define high.
My high is they can give their first round matchup a lot of problems. That's
if they play OKC, there's no problems.
That too, but
yeah,
I'm really high on Kawhi. I'm really high on James Harden. I think Zubac is extremely underrated as a rim protector. His touch around the rim, playing in pick and roll. I also think James Harden hasn't gotten the love he's gotten this season. I mean, people look at the efficiency and they just be like, "Oh, James Harden hasn't been that good this season," which I just think is false. But I think the Clippers are.
He's
really
above 40%. I didn't know he made it. Good work, James. 40.1. Sorry, you can carry on.
But I don't know, man, because that leads into an entirely different conversation. I think some people overvalue offensive efficiency when it comes to players like James Harden or Trae Young. But I think James Harden, as far as just playing in the pick and roll, playing in isolation, being able to anticipate when defenders are going to be late, when they're too worried about the ball, and hitting guys in stride and hitting guys and passing them open, I think that's very valuable. So I think the Clippers are a good team. I wouldn't have them getting out of the first round if they were to play OKC. I think Houston is a better matchup for them, but either way, I don't think they'll go too far.
Well, remember this, though. The Clippers are tied with the Grizzlies. They're currently the 7th seed, but they're tied with the Grizzlies, who are the 8th seed, and they're tied with the Wolves, who are the 6th seed. Now, the Warriors are only a half game ahead of them in the 5th seed. There's a chance that they could potentially grab that 7th or that 5th seed.
Who do they play? Hold on.
But they play us. I know that.
That's the third game. That
They
play
have the Mavs twice on a back-to-back. They have the Spurs, the Rockets, the Kings, and the Warriors.
And the Mavs have only lost once with AD in the lineup, by the way.
And Lively.
I want to talk about
Yo,
Dallas.
it is
I want to talk
crazy
about
how all
Lively
of these,
just came back. Gaffer just came back a couple games ago. They've now got 3 legitimate bigs.
Mhm.
Interesting.
all these teams
I
that are
like
in the
Dallas.
same contention are playing each other. That is heat to end the season.
So 1,
Very
2,
interesting
3,
late
4.
season schedule.
So from 5 to 8 is separated by half a game. So the Golden State Warriors could drop. I know this is goofy as hell, Mars. I know that the Golden State Warriors could be, in the playoffs, and they could go from being in the playoffs to fighting for their playoff life and be an 8th seed within these last 5 games. Because I think the Lakers are going to beat them. I do. I think the Lakers are going to beat them.
Get to sit comfortably at 6. Just
They chilling.
They don't even have to look
Chilling.
behind them. They don't worry about no playing. Meanwhile, these teams playing for their life every game. This is ridiculous.
Chilling in the 6th spot, 100%. But 5 to 8.
What is the most favorable matchup for the Clippers? What's the best case scenario for them?
Of course, they think in Houston. I think they think in Houston.
I think it is Houston. And that's not even to knock Houston. I think the other options is what? OKC, the Lakers, and Denver?
Yeah.
I think it's Houston. I think
that's the team.
I think maybe this does make me high on the Clippers. I think if the Clippers can be on the Houston side of the bracket, so the 2-7, I think they could make the conference finals.
If the Lakers, you'd say if the Lakers are in the 3 seed.
Assuming it would be the Lakers, yeah, I think they could make the conference finals.
If the Clippers are on that 2-7,
beating the Lakers and getting there,
they would have to beat the Lakers to get.
It really just depends on Kawhi. Yeah. That matchup,
and that's not me picking the Lakers. That's not me picking the Clippers to beat the Lakers. Let me make that absolutely clear. I'm just saying I think they'd have a chance.
They got a chance.
Yeah,
they got a chance.
Saying they would have a chance to make the conference finals.
What kind of series are we looking at with the Lakers and the Clippers in your estimation?
I'd have the Lakers winning. I'd have the Lakers winning.
I would have the Lakers winning as well. I don't know.
Probably have them
to be honest with you, if Kawhi could stay healthy, I think they could take advantage of Zubac. I think Zubac could take advantage of the Lakers front line. The Lakers would have to do a really good job in gang rebounding. Even though there's not a lot of size there, they'd have to do it because I think Zubac dominates that series in the paint. Dominates that series. I don't think that he'd be good. I ain't talking about Shaq or nothing like that, but I think he destroys their front line in that series.
I know it'd be a fun ass series to watch.
What have centers been doing against the Lakers?
They haven't really played too many.
Because the principle of like any Lakers series appears to be, this X center will dominate the series, and then they proceed to not dominate the games.
Well, it depends.
Like,
it depends.
Rockets fans were like, "Şengün, you got to dominate." That man did not dominate. Like,
he didn't do anything.
Is this more just in theory? Like you see Jackson Hayes is like, yeah, you should dominate. But
well,
then, like,
wait a minute,
play
Mars.
The Lakers and then the bigs just never happen to dominate.
Well, wait a minute, Mars. That Houston game, for example, against the Lakers. Well, Şengün, he got switched on. I don't know why he didn't attack the mismatches that he should have attacked more. Like he got
mismatches?
Like he got switched on to James. Like why is that
a mismatch?
That's not a mismatch.
6'10", Bron's 6'9", and Bron's stronger than him. Why is that a mismatch?
I mean, at 40 years old, I mean,
he's grown man strength.
Okay,
old man strength.
Okay, yeah. Sure, I can get with that logic. But throughout the course of the game, if you consistently leaning on Bron, and if you're consistently getting mismatches with Bron, if you go after him and you're consistently getting matched up, let me rephrase that. If you're consistently getting matched up with Bron and you're going at him and you're roughing him up, I think that's going to wear on him. But I don't think that I don't think that he took advantage of the matchup between him and James. I think when he had James in front of him, he got off the ball really quickly.
Why is James the target though?
Because I feel like because he's older, and I feel like we can wear him down. That's why, especially with a big, and on top of that, the responsibility that he has as a ball handler, the responsibility that he has as a scorer. If he gets switched onto my 5-man, which is Şengün, I have to go after
LeBron
him.
though. It's like the way they play. It's like they're crowding. So even Şengün backing
help side
LeBron,
defense,
like,
sure.
Mm-hmm. There's multiple hands there, and Şengün's just not a good enough like post player. Like he just, and that's not even like a main option. Even if you do that, like he's scoring on you every so often. His touch isn't great, and so he's bricking. And then now we're running down on the other end, and so He just can't keep going to that. I mean, that's why their offense stinks. Like they just don't have like a first thing to get into. Their best option is like, we missed another shot. Steven Adams, use your hands, and then he.
It's a good option. Efficient offense comes off offensive rebounds.
But I'm saying that's tough. That's a tough bet. And then Fred VanVleet, who's closing? Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, Torrey Eason, Dylan Brooks. Which one? Who's going to have the ball?
I just think it's interesting. We talk about this Houston team like they're just. I mean,
they win in a very unorthodox way. It's not
right, and it works. That's the thing. That's the thing I'm thinking about. Sure,
people are skeptical about the postseason.
Right, and when you get into the postseason, when we target guys like Jalen Green on defense, when we target guys like Şengün on offense, where we want him to score, yes, it could get trickier. But Mars, I'm having a difficult time with a guy in Şengün who has in the past had good touch around the rim. It just hasn't been good as of recently, but he has had good touch around the rim, and I think that we could get that back. And if I got guys, an older guy on me who I know has a lot of responsibility on the other end, if I got that guy on me, my thought process is to go after him and see if I can score on him more often than not. And I can appreciate, Swiper, your logic that they have a lot of help defense. If I'm not mistaken, Şengün is one of the best passing bigs in the game. One of the best passing.
In theory, yeah.
But I think if you look at how the Lakers play,
the highlights look a lot better than he actually is as a passer. A lot better.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to get back. I want to get back to the Lakers and
he's a good passer. He is a good passer.
Lakers versus Clippers because I think Zubac presents completely different problems than
he gave the Lakers 27 and 16 a month ago.
What Zubac did?
Yeah, they lost.
Before we get into that though, just the last thing on Houston. Maybe this is the reason why they win in an unorthodox way. But as you can see from the caption, the Houston Rockets are exuding Black Air Force energy. They are number one in ejections, number one in coaches technicals, number one in player technicals, and number one in disqualifications. So every night,
oh boy,
they bring in that hood energy. Shout out to Houston.
So they got the most guys getting thrown out. They got the most guys getting texts. They got the most guys. And coach gets the most texts. What the hell?
Part of this is why they are who they are, because they get this from MA. They have.
That's what I was thinking.
Their players reflect their coach, and that's the reason why they're a good defensive team. They don't tolerate no bullshit, and they just not gonna get pushed around.
I think that ejection with Dylan Brooks a couple of nights ago on KD, I thought that was some bullshit. That was 100%. That was some bullshit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't have gotten tossed for that. That wasn't all right. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the nut kick. Yeah.
We didn't talk about that one.
Mm-mm. I was talking about the one with KD. But
yeah, y'all, Lakers and Clippers. I need everybody's predictions on what you guys think will happen in this series. Mars kind of said a little.
I said Lakers in 6.
I think the Lakers win in 6 games. A lot of things we do against bigger bigs like Zubac is we swarm the ball. The Lakers always pick somebody in the starting 5 that they're going to help off of. I would think that it's going to be Chris Dunn. They're going to swarm to the ball the second Zubac gets the ball down low. I don't think Zubac is the best at making decisions out of those reads. So the more you try and use Zubac as your advantage, I think he's going to become a disadvantage the second he gets the ball down there, and he has to fight through Dorian Finney-Smith trying to attack him with the ball down low, or Vando playing, or Rui just trying to attack the ball once he gets it. There's going to be a lot of rotating, and if the Lakers can just be on time with closing out and rotating back to the perimeter, I think they should be fine.
Luka does such a great job in keeping you on the defense. He does. Whether he's getting downhill or whether he's finding open guys, he does such a great job of keeping you on the defense. There is no chilling when it comes to him. So with a guy like with a guy like Dunn, who's probably their best perimeter defender, Luka goes after him, and as physical as possible he is with him. Now I feel like that gets him off the floor. And when that gets him off the floor, now you move to guys like Coffee, you move to guys like Derek Jones Jr., Bogey. I'm good.
If Amir Coffee plays, Lakers in 4. I don't know what to tell you. If Amir Coffee plays,
he's for sure gonna play.
Yes, he is.
Lakers
he's going to be. He's going to be in a rotation. But that's the kind of stuff that I feel like the Lakers can. I think that's the X factor in my estimation. For the Clippers, it's their big guy, but for the Lakers, I just think that Luka puts so much pressure on their defense, not just from a scoring aspect, but from an overall aspect. He puts so much pressure on their defense where it's going to be difficult for them to contend with him, just him in particular. I ain't even talking about James. I ain't even talking about the playmaking of Austin Reeves and Austin Reeves getting downhill and getting to the rim. I ain't even talking about that. I'm just thinking what Luka can do specifically and how much pressure he's going to put on that Clipper defense and how many problems he's going to present for them. That's going to be, I think that's going to be the difference in the series.
I guess. It really just comes down to Kawhi, like how healthy he is.
Yeah.
And what he's able to do. James Harden shot making, James versus the Lakers defense. The Lakers don't even, it's not like they have a bevy of crazy defenders. It's just how they play you. So if James can't shot convert, they're going to take the lob away. I mean, it could be Lakers in 5, but if Kawhi's able to do what he does and like Bogey can hit shots, Derrick Jones Jr., like if they can figure out like ways to sustain runs, if LeBron is not able to elevate, like, and he's playing like kind of what he did versus the Memphis Grizzlies series from 2 years ago. I mean, Austin Reeves, like, I don't know.
Austin Reeves is going to be great in that series. I think.
I mean, he's been really good lately. It could be like Lakers in 5, but just because of like matchup stuff. But there's a world for the Clippers to win. But I mean,
yeah, I think there's a world.
And Dunn's gonna have to deal with Austin Reeves, which now leaves whomever
Austin
they
Reeves
have.
or Luka?
No, Dunn's gonna have
to deal with everyone at this point.
He's gonna have to. Well, he's gonna have to deal with Austin Reeves because if you think about as good as you want to have Norman Powell on Austin Reeves. You comfortable with that?
But
DJ, I want to have Chris Dunn on Luka.
They're gonna attack.
Yeah, Chris Dunn guarding Luka.
You do want him guarding Luka, but he's also going to have to deal with Austin Reeves too, because Austin Reeves
but they're going to switch anyway. Like, but
right,
James Harden's going to be dealing with Luka a lot, so like that's going to happen. They're going to switch. But James is not an awful defender this year, so I also don't want to like not give him credit. He hasn't been awful this year.
A, he's not, but B,
but I'm saying that like
Luka, he is.
But what my larger point is that I think because he's going to have a bevy of defenders on the court with him, I think taking advantage of him will be more difficult, and he can divert more energy. But I think some of this is Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard, Chris Dunn. You're not going to find like many better like three collection of wings that can play.
If you get a Kawhi that's engaged on defense, and Kawhi for the most part, he's an off ball guy at this point. He's not on ball lock you down guy, but his hands are still active, and bar some blips in concentration, he's been overall good.
And Vando, if he plays in that series, then it's cooked. It's over. Like they're like, because if they put Zoo in the game with Vando, then that's what I'm saying. That works to their advantage. So I don't know how much Vando is going to be playable in that series. Personally,
but Vando is the Lakers' Chris Dunn.
Yes, from a defensive standpoint,
he's even worse.
He's a majorly worse offensively, but it's the same principle.
But they do need him though. He's going to play in that series.
Well, good. I'm saying good for the Clippers. Like that actually makes their defense work.
You can run. You can play Vando in the minutes where they go to their Ben Simmons at the 5 lineups. You can play Vando in those minutes, and that's like maybe 10, 11 minutes.
I think the Clippers, to your point, Miles. I think the Clippers got more unplayable guys than the Lakers do. It's like you was just talking like Swiper, you just talking about Vando. We playing Ben Simmons off the floor. We play Dunn off the floor. I
don't think you play Ben Simmons off the floor because he's a small ball center. He is
a small ball center, but
when he's playing next to another big, and he has the ball play him off the floor. But when he's the point center, I don't think you play him off the floor because of how he's involved in every action.
Sure.
But maybe you do. Maybe.
Here's my reasoning for that, Mars. So to your point, with a big off the floor, Zubac is going to have to play heavy minutes in this series.
Yeah, like 36, 37.
Right.
Yeah.
Zubac is going to have to play heavy minutes. So with Zubac playing heavy minutes in this series, if Ben Simmons is on the floor, Ben Simmons is going to have to put pressure on the defense to score. Not just as a ball handler. No. He's going to have to.
He's not going to score. He's not a scorer. He's not
talking about Ben Simmons,
and that's why he's going to get played off the floor. Swiper.
But Ben Simmons, he brought up Ben Simmons.
I don't
think that's viable.
And that's why I think he can get. And that's why I think he's going to get played off the floor.
Batum makes way more sense in that series than Ben Simmons does. Like, especially.
What do you mean he makes more sense?
Batum is a better in terms of what they need to actually do to work. Putting Ben Simmons on the court is in that series in particular, the way the Lakers guard, that'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy of your offense is going to be cooked. Batum at least gives you an opportunity to run a more traditional offense, especially if they're going to have 5 wings on the floor. And how they do it, they're going to pack the paint with those 5 wings. Batum actually can help you to run a traditional 5-out offense with Kawhi, with James, with whoever's on the court. Now, again, Chris Dunn is going to have to make 3-pointers, like at least 2. But I think for me, it's more so like it's how they're operating with Chris Dunn. And then Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are heavy ISO players in the first place. So, like, if you're saying you're collapsing off of Chris Dunn and them, well, then they can find ways to make that work. I mean, they can even just run like backside picks with Bogey on the other side of that, or backside picks at DJJ, who's been a decent 3-point shooter this year. Like, there are ways for you to find ways to make your offense work, but they're just going to have to be smart about it. And I think that's what's going to come down to Ty Lue. Are you able to execute with your personnel? I don't think their personnel is limited. They have one of the more deeper teams in the league, but I think it's more so how you're going to deploy them. Like, if you're going to run Ben Simmons and Dunn and Ben Simmons and
they run Ben Simmons with like the bench unit. They'll have Bogey out there, and they'll have the array of shooters. So Ben, Norman Powell, the guys who are elite shooters, but they need someone to get them the ball. Those type of players. And then Ben's playing the 5 on defense, but he's that point guard on offense, basically.
Right.
And those lineups are relatively viable, especially when guys are knocking down shots. Now, the issue with Ben is he can't screen. So, like, you've got him out there just throwing passes, and the screening is just terrible.
So, Moss, he can't screen. He can't score. I got
he's the epitome of pass and play defense. That's all he does.
And in the playoffs in particular, you got to put pressure on the defense to score or screen to get other guys open to score. If he doesn't do neither of that, he gets played off the floor.
I don't think he's going to play much, though. Like,
I wouldn't expect many minutes, but I mean, at most, I'd expect like 11 or 12 minutes. Like, that's at most I'd probably expect.
But I mean, maybe in the first 2 games. But if he's not viable at all, then he's not going.
Yeah, I mean, they'll go away from it quick because Batum is like Batum. They've been load managing him throughout the whole regular season. They know Batum is a playoff player. He's very valuable in terms of just his defensive communication, his IQ, his rotations, then the floor space and ability, the connected passing. Nicholas Batum, by the way, doesn't get enough credit. He's like 36, 37, and he's still a very high level contributor.
He's older than that.
So shout out to Nicholas Batum for that value. But yeah, Nicholas Batum will be someone they go to a lot as well. The issue is just once Zoo is off the floor, they do lack a lot of size. But the Lakers are also a team that lacks a lot of size. So it's an interesting matchup there. And James Harden and Kawhi being so good in isolation, the Lakers like to overload the ball side, but that's risky business with James Harden because he can make every pass in the book. So
fellas, quick, I have to interject to tell all our wonderful viewers about a beautiful app called PrizePicks where you can instantly win $50 when you play just $5. Now, these are promo funds, the $50 that you will get. And how you get those promo funds is by using the promo code panel. So you download the app, you use the promo code panel, you play $5, and you get 50 back. Yeah, that's 50 big ones. And once you get that, you should follow my picks on PrizePicks. And these are what they are right here today. You see, we're talking about Luka Doncic and what he's going to do tonight against the Golden State Warriors. And they only have him projected to get 7.5 assists. So we're definitely going to take the more on that because, well, it's Luka Doncic. And then we got Paolo Banchero against the Washington Wizards. Now, it's against the Wizards, so you would expect them to go for 40, I guess. But once again, he averages less than 28.5 points, which is his player projection. And sometimes Paolo can have off nights. And so we're banking on that tonight for him to go less than 28.5. And we got Draymond Green, PRA against the Lakers, 22.5. We're going to go more on that. And then last but not least, Ja Morant, 23.5 points. He was on a heater the other night, so we're expecting him to continue to keep that rolling, especially in a must-win game tonight for the Memphis Grizzlies against the Miami Heat. And that's how we rock it tonight. You guys let me know how you feel about that. All right, fellas. I do want to mention one thing about the Clippers. And I want to know how you guys feel about Kawhi Leonard and his health as of right now. Now, he's played 32 games so far. In that, he's played only 31 minutes per game. And in the time that he's been playing good. He's shooting almost 50% from the field, 49%, and he's shooting right under. He's basically shooting 40%. He's shooting 39.99
at the long ball line.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
So he has been making his shots. And
we'll make it 40.
Pretty efficient.
We'll put it at 40.
So he's basically at 50-40 right now. How are we feeling about him taking his game to the next level in the playoffs? Keep in mind, he's only played 32 games. We've
seen it already, Ron. We've seen him take his game to the next level. The question is, can he hold up? I mean, we saw him in 23. He looked like those first 2 games, like he was going to be the best player in the playoffs. He looked like that, right? And then last year, he couldn't play in the playoffs because he couldn't hold up. So I don't think Kawhi Leonard's game is in question. That burst that he used to have, it's not there as consistently as it was in the past, but he can still get the spots. And I think he's going to get ramped up come playoff time. And I think that his minutes are going to go up. The question is how is he going to hold up when his minutes go up? I don't think that there's anybody that can stay in front of him. I don't think that there's anybody that can stop him from getting to his spots and getting shots. I still think that he's solid enough on defense as a one-on-one defender that he can still be viable. I think the question is can he hold up? Right? That's the $1 million question with him. Can he hold up? And if he can hold up, I think they got a shot. I do.
I think Kawhi has the game in the playoffs to where if you have that strength and that ball handling to get to almost anywhere you want on the floor, I think that's going to be viable. I mean, he plays with his back to the basket. I think he's really good with his back to the basket, just having that strength to create space, whether it's a hook shot, a fadeaway shot. He has the ball handling to get to the mid-range, and he's really good off ball. I think he plays off of James Harden really well, just finding seeps and cracks within the defense to find himself open, whether it's in the corner, above the break, just getting wide open shots. I think he's going to be really good in the playoffs. Once again, Chill, you mentioned this about how he's going to hold up, but if he's healthy, I don't think there's a lot of people you could throw in front of Kawhi that can match his speed with the ball and his strength to contain him being able to get open mid-range looks with or without the ball in his hand. So
since the All-Star break, he's playing 36 minutes a game. And that's 17 game sample size. So like
what's the stats in those games?
So so he's 36 minutes a game, 24.5 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1.9 steals, 51% from the field, 42 from the 3, 79 from the line on the 61 true shooting.
He's been phenomenal lately.
Now, 100%. I'm not going to argue that. I won't argue that point. Now, remember, Swipe, now these games are spread out, and he has set out games. Now, when we're talking about the playoffs, the game's a little bit more condensed.
So he played the second. He played yesterday. He played on the 31st, the 28th, the 26th, the 23rd, the 21st, the 18th, the 16th, the 14th, the 11th, the 9th, the 7th, the 4th, the 2th, the 2nd, the 28th, the 26th.
The tooth.
The 2th, sorry, it was the 2nd. Sorry.
So he has played.
He's been playing like repetitively.
And that's good. That's great. That is great. That point I won't argue. I just want to see him hold up in the play. I'm not saying anything ridiculous here. This guy, 2 of the last 3 years, he didn't hold up in the playoffs. Now, to Mars's theory that he told me 2 months ago, this is why they did what they did, so they can have him come playoff time and ramp him up in the playoffs. Is it going to be sustainable? That's the $1 million question. That's the $1 million question. Because I don't think his game is in question. I watched Kawhi Leonard in transition, right? I watched Kawhi Leonard in transition. His stop and pop game looks as good as
LeBron going to hold up?
Yes.
With the injury that he faced right now? Okay.
Yes. LeBron doesn't have a history of injury like Kawhi Leonard does. So I don't think that that's a question between him.
LeBron's currently hurt, though. He's like, Kawhi's healthier than LeBron right now.
Kawhi is
currently healthier than LeBron.
Interesting, because I mean he doesn't have the history. I don't know why this is a conversation that we're having. James plays hurt.
Well, Kawhi, I'm saying, has been healthy for like a good bit now.
Sure, and that's
some of this
the point.
Is just managing like his workload over the years,
sure,
so he can get to this point, as opposed to last year. Or remember, he played 68 games last year, and he got overworked. And then now he's in a situation where they have underworked him to get him to this point. So they flipped their methodology. So I think that this is probably the healthiest he's gonna,
If this is where we are with him, this is probably their best opportunity, and they're in the 8th spot. But I don't think the Clippers care about playoff seedings. I think that what they care about the most is getting into the playoffs and getting a good matchup. So if this is the best opportunity that they have, then they have to win it. They do, because I don't know what other methods you can use with Kawhi Leonard in order to get him healthy for the playoffs, because that's the idea. He's broke down 2 of the last 3 years in the playoffs. And what they did was they basically shelved him for the majority of the regular season to get him ready for the playoffs. So now he's ready for the playoffs. And to your point, he's played in back-to-back. He's played in these number of games. Well, the same thing is going to happen come playoff time, where he's going to probably have to log heavy minutes. He's not going to be able to play 25, 30 minutes in the playoffs. No, that's not going to happen. He's going to have to log heavy minutes. So
he's playing 36 minutes.
Right. And when, as you know, the intensity, the physicality, all of that stuff gets a little bit higher. So when the playoffs start, I'll be interested to see if he can hold up. I'm here for it. 100% I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's reason to have skepticism around it. I guess wanting to give him credit for, and the Clippers credit, frankly, because last year he wanted to prove he could have a fully healthy season. He had an all NBA season last year.
Sure.
Tatum played 73 last year. Chill. I can't remember what the exact number was.
74.
74. And then LeBron played. Was it around was it 70 games or something like that last year? I can't remember the exact number.
I want to say 69.
Durant played a lot of games last year, and you know we saw how that went. Especially for Kawhi. So I think they just said look, they're doing what the Sixers should have did with Embiid, is just give him very minimal games to play over the course of the regular season. At the end of the year, we ramp him up, and then right before the playoffs, we shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we get into the play-in or whatever else, he's as good as he's gonna be. We're icing him every day.
I think the Clippers don't want to be in the play-in. Those are an extra 4 or 5 days where you just don't have to.
You got a whole week off.
So ideally, I think they get this 5 or the 6. Probably none of them are really great matchups. So yeah, they probably just want the 5 or the 6 just to avoid having to play in the play-in. So they're gonna be competing.
If I'm them, I will want that week off as opposed to having to try to fight against the Grizzlies or the Wolves, and then we got to beat it. Let's say we lose to one of those teams, and then we got to take our chances against the Mavericks.
So you figure, Ron, all right, the regular season ends.
To the Kings.
So the regular season ends on the 13th. The play-in tournament starts Tuesday the 15th. If we win that game, we don't play again till the weekend. So all right, so it's in theory, it's an extra 2 days off. If we win that first, that 7-8 series, if we win that, okay, we got the rest of the week off.
Start in 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks from that. 2 weeks from
Beautiful.
The play-in tournament. The play-in tournament is 2 weeks from Tuesday, and then the playoffs start 2 weeks from this weekend.
Chill. We talking about Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. I don't want to take no chances with them in a dogfight playing game. We seen what happened with Zion last year. I don't want to take no chances with them.
That was a complete freak though. At the end of that game.
I don't want to be in no type of dogfight situation unless
Pelicans should have been the 17 last year. We having conversations
in a series.
I thought Zion about to put them out, but then what was that? It was 6 minutes left in the fourth or something like that.
Something like that.
Trey Murphy couldn't.
Then he just goes.
BI was just nowhere to be seen the entire game either.
Yeah, BI he came back from that knee contusion, man. He weren't right. You seen it in the playoff series. He weren't right, man.
He wasn't right.
Boy, Zion was looking at Anthony Davis and saying, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh my god!"
He was frying him.
But Stephen A. Smith said he's a bust. So Zion
I feel like we've mistermed bust and what that actually means. But shouts.
I agree. I tweeted about that. I agree.
What's a bust for you guys?
You do be tweeting. That's true.
To me, a bust is Anthony Bennett. That's a bust.
2013.
It's LaRue Martin. Yes, it's guys who
it's
guys who are drafted high and stuck
and did nothing.
That's a bust.
Was Christian Laettner a bust? Chill.
No. Mm-mm. He played 12 years, made the All-Star team. No, I don't think he was a bust.
All right, it wasn't a bust, but boy, oh boy,
he didn't pan out to what, considering what he did in college. He didn't pan out to what
was LaFrentz a bust?
Respect Ray LaFrentz. What the hell?
Shut out, Ray.
Respect Ray LaFrentz. Was Michael Olowokandi a bust?
Yes. Michael was good for a little bit though. Chill. He did have a couple good years in there. You know who has a sleepy known connotation as a bust, but was good is freaking Andrew Bynum. He just wasn't what people wanted him to be, but he was a good player.
Far from a bust.
He
was good.
Andrew Bynum was solid.
Yes, he was. Made the All-Star team.
More hurt than
Adam
bust.
West. You know who LaFrentz is.
How do you guys if your career gets derailed by injuries? Greg Oden, are you a bust or are you just unfortunate? Or you both?
I think
Greg Oden's both.
They just got hurt.
Greg Oden, because he just didn't play enough. But did Greg Oden play a whole season? He might play
So
one
what
season.
about
A
Markel
whole season
Fultz?
worth of
What
games,
about Markel
maybe. A whole.
No, that was the Sixers' fault.
Greg Oden played 61 games one time.
I think you're more of a what if than you are a bust, but I think that you are a bust. Like, what if you would have held up? Well, you didn't.
Sam Bowie's a what if.
Yeah. What if you would have held up if you didn't? So
Adam Morrison was a bust. That was a miss. That was 100% miss.
Yeah, to be fair, he tore his ACL going into his second year. So
Yeah, but he also he
wasn't very good his rookie year, but that doesn't.
He was the first. He was the first. Well, he was the 2000 version of Josh Giddey. Like, this is what we thought we were getting. Like a player that can be an all-star. He was a really good shooter. He was like a good playmaker, like relative for the era. Like, he wasn't like crazy. He was just a hooper. Like, he just didn't turn out though.
Yeah, I think the signs were there with that he wasn't going to be great. But for me, I think bust is reserved for people who just genuinely weren't good. Like, if your career gets derailed by injuries, but you were goods when you were available, or you were on the way to being goods, it's like, I guess you could be in the bracket, but like for me, there's a special place for like true busts, and I feel like we're getting away from the essence of a bust.
Yes,
Anthony Bennett is like
that's
what it is.
I don't
Someone
know how
who's
he was
got
a
given
first
an opportunity after opportunity, and they just were never
chill.
good.
A first overall pick as a power forward who wasn't an elite athlete at UNLV.
He wasn't even the best player in that league.
I was like, he wasn't
even the best player in the Mountain West. No, he wasn't.
He was.
Now, to be fair to Anthony Bennett, I think it's obvious he never should have been a number one pick.
Right.
So
that's
like
fair.
He's a bust by circumstance, but he was.
But look at what
in a
Cleveland
bad
was
position.
without LeBron. Like, put all that stuff together. They didn't know what they were doing. Like, period, at all. They didn't know what they were doing. Now they fixed it a little bit with Kyrie, and then all that other stuff. They drafted Andrew Wiggins. Now Andrew Wiggins wasn't a bust, but he's in the Aaron Gordon like tier of like
high draft pick who never reached their potential. But they're good.
Andrew has been good.
He's been good, but not number one.
But not
good.
Well, but Ron, you remember what did they call him when we were younger? What did they call Andrew Wiggins?
They called him Canadian what?
No,
Canadian
Jordan.
Kobe.
They called him Maple Jordan. I mean, they called him Maple Jordan. Yeah,
Maple Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
We all thought too. Be fair, like when he was at Kansas,
I never really. But see, at Kansas, I didn't like Andrew Wiggins all that much. I didn't think he was all that spectacular. He, based on what I thought he was, he actually has been better than what I thought he was.
Bro,
he wasn't very high.
I wasn't high on him at all like that. But
I mean, at the time, a 6'6" wing though that like moved like that, it was
6'7", me in the middle.
6'6", yeah, sir, 6'6", 6'7", whichever one, yeah.
But he's been very good. Like, just think about it. He in Minnesota, he averaged 20 what? And I know obviously
that was a bad
20. I know it could be an empty 20, but I'm just saying though.
He did average 20.
He averaged 20 for what? 3 straight seasons?
I want to say from year 2, but I'll check.
3 or 4 seasons, he averages 20.
Andrew Wiggins.
They're not that good of a team, but
his rookie year, he averaged 17, then he averaged 21, then 23 and a half, then 18, 22, and then the
23 on 53.
He's an 18 and a half point per game scorer for his career.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Go to Golden State, you win a ring. Now he's in Miami. He's
got a 40 ball.
Miami.
Is Lonzo Ball a bust?
No, injuries, complete injuries. But he's not what his father sold him to be.
Yeah, that's what I think held Lonzo.
So
back.
he gets.
we're not gonna give.
So Lonzo gets to escape bust because of injuries, but Greg Oden's a bust.
No, who said he's a bust? He's not a bust.
He's
not a bust.
Ron, my fault. Ron said he's a bust.
The reason why I said Greg Oden is a bust, and he's a what if too. I would say he's more of a what if than a bust.
No, you know who a bust is? Jared Solinger. That was a bust.
Way.
That was a bust.
How was Jared Solinger?
He was like he was
a late. I think he was like
who
17th pick.
First round? Who was his point guard? Who was his point guard? Chill. That wasn't D'Angelo. That was
no, that wasn't D'Angelo Russell. That wasn't Mike Conley.
It was
he was with Oden.
The white guy.
You know who I'm talking about,
Ron.
Just
said the white guy. It's not TJ McConnell, but TJ McConnell like. Aircraft.
Yes. Nah, bruh, Solinger, but even the way he was, man, at least he was a bust based on in college. People were talking about him crazy.
Right.
But maybe Jahlil Okafor fits that better.
I thought Jahlil was going to be a demon.
Jared Sullinger was just too small.
And he was
to
a
play big, but
big
he was
baby
too
Davis
slow.
light. That's what he looked like.
That was the problem.
6'9", like
he was
a true tweener. He was a true tweener, but
without the pop.
Yeah, so that was the problem. Derek Williams.
What about Nerlens Noel?
I mean, I could argue injury.
That's injury too.
Yeah, but
he came in with a torn ACL.
I think he got screwed with the 76ers too. Like I think
it wasn't a great situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
he was good
defensively.
He was good defensively. Offensively, it just never came around.
Oh,
is Markelle Fultz a bust?
No, bro. Yes. No.
This is the one we need to talk about.
No, but I think Markelle got screwed because he had some stuff happen up here that wasn't his fault. So I think like there were some things that like went on in his personal. And then they changed his form too.
I need Markelle to go on a podcast after his career and tell me what happened with this whole situation.
He got the yips, Mars. That was it. He caught the yips. That's what happened.
Then I want to hear it from his mouth. I want to hear it from his mouth.
Regardless of what it is, we can't hold that.
I never.
But that happens to people, though. That's what I'm saying.
It happens, but if it happens, then we have to hold you accountable.
But you can't control stuff like that, though. That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
Like Stephen A. Smith seemed to be very. Because he was there. He was, as I know this verbatim. I was Philadelphia Inquirer for 16 years. He seemed very, he wouldn't even talk about it. Like there are just some things that are like happening with him that like we're not going to bring up. And so I'm saying that for somebody that at that high to at least allude this whole thing. There could be more. I'll say Mark. So I'm saying I just wouldn't put him there, but you can put him there based on projection. We thought he was going to be Mark. He was
you
25.
No idea how high I was on Mark.
He was a 25-5-5 dude in Washington, dog.
And they would go, yeah.
He was he was so clearly the number one pick to me, like so clearly. And I think we just got the like absolute worst case scenario, like not even the worst case scenario, like beyond the worst case scenario. Who could have foreshadowed that he would just forget how to shoot? That's even worse than what you thought could have been the worst case scenario. So it was just bad. I think.
Oh wait, Mars, let me ask you this:
Markelle Fultz works out. He's a justified number one.
All right. So now, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Hold up, though, Swiper. But before we move on to Willie, I wanted to stay on Markelle because he's probably the latest number one pick that just didn't really.
2018, you got DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah,
Markelle.
That's not a bust. He got a max. He got a rookie max. That's not a bust.
2019 number one pick was Zion. He's not a bust. I don't care what anyone says.
2020 was
and is not a bust. James Wiseman is, by the way.
Oh yeah,
James Wiseman's the real bust. He's a real bust.
But he did tear his Achilles. Though.
I want to stay on Markelle though. Is he a bust or is he a what if?
For me, he's a what if.
Yeah, I think he's a what if.
For me, he's a what if. Because I don't think you know how he was the next great god. Like you couldn't convince me.
Mars, I'm from. I wasn't living in Seattle at the time, but I'm from Seattle. UW is right in my backyard. I would watch games and would go back and brag to Ox. Oh, Ox, we got one. And Ox, you guys know Ox. Oh, he's not that good. Stop hyping him, Ron. I don't want to hear nothing about Markelle. And I was like, okay, he's legitimately that good. Mars, I was as high as you were. I was so high on Markelle that I actually classify him as a bust. Because I believe he was supposed to be that.
Man, Sam been on my top all day. Goodness gracious, bro. Get a job, bro. Goodness gracious. I just don't think Markelle's a bust personally, but I can understand why people would do that. Thomas Robinson.
He was meant to spearhead this era of guards, like the combo guard who could get a bucket, play defense, 7-foot wingspan, 6'5", score from multiple levels, get to the rim, handle.
He's not a bigger bust than Dragon Bender, though.
Oh, that's a bust. Yeah, that's a bust. That's a major bust. Yeah.
Is he?
I like Dragon Bender too.
Is Dragon Bender a bigger bust than? I gotta make sure I get his name right. Skibili.
No, Nicholas Tiskibili. No one. There's no such thing. Look it up, Ron.
Who?
Look it up. Exactly.
The guy
wasn't
number
he,
5.
He was like the 5th pick, right? He went to the
2004 NBA. Hold on. No. You're not. No. We're gonna address this.
Go ahead.
Please.
We're gonna address this. What year was that? Was that 02?
Why is Nicholas Tahiti?
They ended up passing on Amari Stoudemire for Skeely.
It was the Yao Ming draft.
No, it was two. It was Yao Ming.
The Yao Ming draft.
Jay Williams was not a bust, by the way. He just had a horrible motorcycle accident. Mike Dunleavy was not a bust. He just was a role player. Drew Gooden was not a bust. He was a good player. Nicholas Tiskibili Okay.
To the Skevlia.
He played 172 games. I want y'all to know this. And again, if you're listening to this, there's no disrespect. He averaged as a rookie 3 points. He played 81 games. The very next year, he played 39 games, and then he had a whole bunch of other stuff. And then he played 23 more games. That dude played 81 games in his first year. The rest of his career, he played 91 NBA games after that.
How long was his career?
He was gone by like 08.
06.
Okay.
Phoenix. His career year, Ron, was his rookie year.
So why is he not a bust?
On the Nuggets,
he's a huge bust. He got drafted, Ron, just for context, Brody. He got drafted that year. So they took Nene. Thankfully, they got Nene Hilario later. So he went 7 that year. Amari Stoudemire was 9 that year. Caron Butler was 10 that year. You even had Jared Jeffries, who went 11 that year. Fred Jones, who I thought Fred Jones was good.
Fred Jones was cool.
I did.
Yeah,
like
Fred Jones went 14 that year.
He played 17. He played like 7 or 8 years in the league. I remember Fred Jones. I
remember his peak was the Pacers in the dunk contest. If you probably remember that. I think that was the highlighter ball, I believe, Chill, that they had that year, the Sprite year. But yeah, it was
in Los Angeles when the All-Star game was in Los Angeles in 04.
The 02 draft really wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't. But he was the worst of the worst.
It was not.
I looked to see why he got drafted. The year before he got drafted, according to the very limited sample size I can see, he played 17 games overseas and averaged like 4 points. So not sure what the allure was, besides the fact he was 7 feet.
That had to be it. He was 19.
He was 7 feet. He was 7 feet, and in the LBA, so the Italian league, he shot 40% from 3 on 2 attempts. So I guess the
prototype big.
Yeah, I guess the principle was, hey, 7 foot and can shoot. Now he averaged 1.4 turnovers to 0.4 assists, and averaged 2 rebounds, and 0.2 blocks. So once again, box score watching here. Not sure what the allure was in the first place, but
we had a Darko. People don't remember this. We had a Darko versus Nicholas square off. By the way, like that rookie year, and it went nowhere. It went exactly where you thought it would go. Nowhere. That was a big hype. It was a big European hype going into that year. Nothing came from that. That was a horrible draft. Sadly, Emmanuel Mudiay. That's another one.
Man, I was sold on Emmanuel.
He had a couple solid years though.
I wasn't particularly high on Mudiay.
I was. He went to SMU, right? Or did
he played in?
He went overseas, didn't he?
Oh, he went overseas. That's right.
He was supposed to go to SMU.
Played in China.
Yeah, that's right. He's supposed to go there. Yeah.
I wasn't. I just didn't like his feel for the game, personally.
Hey man, and forget all y'all. Every single one of y'all. First off, that Derrick Rose, and then who went number 2 that year?
Michael Beasley.
Yeah, he was not a bust. I'm sorry. I don't care what none of y'all say. He wasn't a bust. He was good.
Well, what kind of
Michael Beasley, the best college player I've ever seen. So, yeah.
Is he not? He can't be a what if.
What year was that, Ron? 2007?
He was in college in 07. He was drafted in 08.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold on. State.
He came in the year after
KD.
Yeah, he came in the year after KD.
So that year, no.
He may have been better in college than KD.
No, but the best, matter of fact, the best college athlete was Bill Walker, dog. Because he went to Kansas State with Michael Beasley, Mars, and that dude was crazy.
Mars, you know about Bill Walker?
Matt, Michael Beaslly is the best college player I've ever seen.
Mars,
Mars?
Cool. But Mars, do you know about Bill Walker?
In them 4 months, that was it, Mars?
No,
that's it,
I've
Mars.
ever seen.
Damn, in
true
4 months.
That
is nuts right there.
Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony.
Right, he was better than Anthony Davis.
The best I ever seen.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, all right, no problem.
What does that mean? How did you see it?
I went back and watched.
You didn't watch Anthony Davis yet?
I went back and watched AD. Cool. I want to see some offense. I don't know what to tell you. No matter how no offensive game. I watched Michael Beasley. I went back and watched Michael Beasley. I went back and watched Steph Curry. I went back and watched KD. I haven't gone back and watched Melo. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't gone back and watched Melo. I went back and watched KD. I went back and watched Steph Curry. I went back and watched Michael Beasley. I've gone back and watched Anthony Davis. I watched Zion Williamson. Michael Beasley is the best college player I've ever seen. That does not mean he's the best college player. He's not. because I know there might be some advanced stats. There's things that I'm watching that I'm not analyzing objectively. I'm analyzing with the bias I have for Michael Beasley. But he is the best college player I've ever seen.
No,
And
Michael Beasley was special. At Kansas State, that was a special year. I'm giving you 30 every single, not just 30. I'm giving you 30 and 12.
Yeah, I'm looking now, Ron. He had 39 and 11 versus Kansas, bro. It's just
I'm literally watching it on my other monitor right now.
I'm talking about
best college player I've ever seen.
Threes, mid range on the block, tip dunks,
bully ball,
everything.
Come on, man.
Step backs. It's everything that you see him doing the ones. That's what he was doing in Kansas.
And he was blocking shots too. If you want to factor,
yeah, he was playing. He was playing a little bit of defense.
So like, I don't know what he averaged, but he the best I've ever seen. But I've made it.
What makes him the best you ever seen, Mars? What did Michael Beasley do in your estimation? Because when again, he was around. He came in a year before K. Just so you know, he came in a year before K. The year after KD. He came in a year after KD. So in terms of guys in college, you saw Steph Curry. You saw Kevin Durant. You saw Derrick Rose. I'm thinking about college guys. You saw Anthony Davis. Yeah. You saw Cat. What did this guy do to make you think in these 4 months that's the best college basketball player I've ever seen? What the hell did
he was a man amongst boys, but with supreme skill. He was stronger than you. He was playing physical. KD liked that physicality. He was just like skilled, and the jumper was great. But Beasley could shoot from 3, but he didn't settle for threes. Yep. He was so strong. He was playing around the basket. He could attack you face up, post up, however you wanted it. And then defensively, he was active on defense. He was blocking shots. He was rebounding. I don't know how many offensive rebounds he averaged, but it felt like he averaged like 6 offensive rebounds a game.
He was just double. If I'm not
he was just everywhere, like everything. And I'm also heavily leaning offense here. Like I'm not talking about impact and what scales to the NBA. I'm talking purely just what I'm watching in college. I'm forgetting how I think it might translate to the league. It was just, I haven't seen someone better than that personally. But I'm also making it abundantly clear, I don't go out on my way to just watch a bunch of people in college. I'm not analyzing it the same way I do NBA guys. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm absolutely saying I'm probably wrong. I'm just letting you know he's the best I've seen. And if I could go back and watch anyone again in college, it would be Michael Beasley every single time. Every single time.
It was as special as, like, you go back and look at the highlights during that time. It was frenzy. It was Michael Beasley mania. He was going crazy. He took college by storm. But also, I mean, obviously that year you had Derrick Rose, and then Kansas was very good too with Mario Chalmers and them. But I personally believed, watching Michael Beasley throughout that whole run and watching Derrick Rose that whole year, and you had OJ Mayo too, I thought that Michael Beasley was the number 1 overall pick. I didn't believe Derrick Rose should go over him. From the production he was giving you, I want to say it was 26 and 12. From that production,
I'll look it up.
I thought Michael Beasley was the number 1 overall pick.
I couldn't
obviously, the Bulls got it right taking Derrick Rose, but
if Michael Beasley ain't go to Miami, he would have been a great NBA player, man. You put a man with his type of mindset in a situation like Miami, that's disaster. 26 points per game, 12.5 rebounds, 1.3 steals, 1.6 blocks, 53% from the field, 38% from 3. Shooting 3.
Oh my God!
He
was
this is in 2007.
4 offensive rebounds a game, by the way. 4 offensive rebounds a game. Like, come on, he was doing everything. Like,
and that's 40-minute games.
Right, he was the first
slow game, 35-second shot clock,
and he was averaging 31 minutes a game, and he did.
Right, he's the first freshman in Big 12 history to lead the conference in scoring. No freshman ever did that.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. No freshman ever did that. I think he led the league in rebounding too. If I'm not mistaken.
We thought we were getting KD back to back. I think everything that was said about him was,
I think he led the league in rebounding too. But I mean, Christian Laettner. When I think about great college players,
I haven't gone back and watched Christian Laettner, so you're gonna have a larger scope than me.
No, of course. But
respectfully, I don't care.
I
know that. I'm thinking about the best college basketball player that I've ever seen. I want to say Shaq. As much as I dig the big man, but Lenny Bias, I couldn't wait for him to get to the pros. Lenny was something different. I loved everything about him.
Vincent Yarbrough, that's another one too.
I couldn't wait for Lenny to get to the league. I just couldn't.
Best college player I've seen. I mean, nostalgia and truth is going to tell me Melo, because Melo was crazy freshman year.
I have to do some due diligence because I asked about that yesterday. I haven't
About what?
Yeah,
My due
I'm
diligence
asking
on Syracuse Melo. I haven't gone back to watch that.
I'm telling you, like he ran through everybody, dog. He was a 20-10 player in the tournament, which was at the time, which was unheard of. Especially for a wing, like an actual wing, not a like a rebounding wing, but like a shooter, a scorer. I mean, Kemba Walker was crazy. That run that he had was probably the most magical. Zion was
got to shout out some of the college goats too.
Zion was a monster.
Zion was insane. But I got to shout out some real bucket getters. Now, you guys, just for a second, just forget their NBA careers and let's just remember college. I got to give Jimmer Fredette some love.
Jimmer Fredette was crazy at BYU.
Insane.
We're gonna give Adam Morrison that same love.
Adam Morrison, you for sure got to get some love as well.
Steve Blake was cold, dog.
He ain't in that same note. Steve Blake is not. No.
Who was the other one?
No,
there was another one.
There is another one. His name is Buddy Hield.
Okay, Buddy Hield was good.
Buddy Hield was
what
nice.
was
Buddy Hield was
nuts.
Nice.
What was the Louisville guard's name? Not D. Mitch. Silva. It was a Silva.
Siva wasn't that.
That's the dude that broke his leg.
No, that was the other dude. Siva from Seattle. He went to the same school as Jason Terry.
Juwan Dixon. That's what it is. Hitty Hardaway. Juwan Dixon was cold at Maryland. Man, I like that so many people know ball in here besides Sam, because Sam is just a casual in the chat. Let me see. JJ Redick was crazy. He was in college. He was in college my entire. I think I was in middle school or younger than that. The whole time. I think I transitioned from elementary to middle school. He was still in college, and I thought, like, why is he still there?
I got another one for y'all.
Who?
Another person that took the college game by storm. I know y'all remember Dougie McBuckets.
Dougie
McDermott.
Douglas.
I know y'all remember
Douglas.
Yeah.
Hello, Douglas.
Yeah. Let me see, Ron. Let's see.
Dwayne Wade was awesome too.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
So was Kevin Durant.
I wasn't that high on KD. I'm not gonna lie, y'all.
There's no way.
He
was high on KD.
The thing about KD is one.
Let's look at KD's averages real quick.
KD was
20. Yeah, he was crazy, bro.
He was getting
26, 11, and 2 blocks.
And Mars, just so you know, that 26, that's good enough for numero uno in the country. He led the country in scoring that year.
Mm-hmm. And he shot 40% from 3 on 6 threes a game.
He was getting to it. I just didn't know if the shot translated like that. And
could you
Shabazz obviously need some love?
Could you imagine how?
Well, he tweaked some things with his shot, so you was somewhat right.
If they had NIL at that point, bro, like these dudes would have made so much, because they played. These were like long-term college dudes too, because KD obviously left early. Tyler Hansbrough was there for 4 years. He would have racked up.
Napier, he was there.
Shabazz.
He was.
I'm looking at it now, Christian. I'm looking at the list right now. David Thompson was crazy at North Carolina State. Mars. That's probably another one you can probably pull up and watch.
Also, shout out Blake Griffin too.
Blake was really nice.
Oklahoma be putting out prospects. Like you go to Oklahoma, you got an opportunity to get busy. And also shout out to their freshman this year, Jeremiah Fears. He's probably gonna be a top 10 pick.
Fire.
Yeah, I think he declared. Yeah,
he went off this year. But if you go to Oklahoma, you got a chance to get busy. You've seen Trae Young do it, led the nation in scoring and assists. You've seen Buddy Hield go there, and he didn't have no leash. You've seen Blake Griffin go there. He went crazy.
Austin Reeves go there? Didn't Austin Reeves go there?
I think Austin Reeves was there for
2 years.
Austin Reeves went there.
Yeah, let me see.
By the way, Cooper Flag is also one of like the best colleges.
Definitely.
Yeah, people keep trying to underrate Cooper Flag, and it aggravates me really bad.
This makes me sad, dog. Emeka Okafor also 2 Mars was another college player that was like
they won a national championship his senior year. Yeah, he was awesome.
Let me see who else is on this list that y'all haven't mentioned already. Juwan Dixon, I'm the only person that brought him up, bro. I thought he was the John Wall was another one. Shane Battier at Duke. Trey Burke, remember Trey Burke, the Michigan days.
Trey was nice. Trey and
cold. Frank Kaminsky, that Frank Kaminsky run.
Frank the Tank.
Kaminsky.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Him and Sam Decker on that.
Yeah.
Sam Decker was
Wisconsin. Yeah.
And he didn't turn out to be much, bro. But Evan Turner, bro, at Ohio
Now
State.
and I'm glad you brought that up. Like you say that these guys are bust and they don't turn out to be much. So if let's say I because the average pro
relative
career
to
is
like
4.
human population, they did amazing.
Well, if the average pro career is 4 years, I'm a top 3 pick in the draft, and I end up playing 12 years.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Was I a bust?
No.
That's why I don't know how I feel about Kwame Brown.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Kwame Brown played 15 years in the league. He played 15 years.
He was just never a great player, but he was always
never.
He was.
But you know what I can do? You know, I rebound. I can finish around the rim. I'm durable. And at that time, it was still a big man league. So he wasn't good in pick and dive. He wasn't gonna pick and pop.
I'm sorry, Kwame falls in one category and one only.
Ty Lawson,
Ron,
too, Ron.
To play 15 years though, Ron? 15 years?
15 years is
damn.
He played 15.
No, I think he played like 12 because he was gone by like 2014.
He got his pension. He got his NBA pension, so he was good enough.
What pick was he?
1.
Numero uno.
But I don't like.
What? Well, he was a baby.
It's hard. It's hard. Like, I don't. It's weird for me to say I don't hold the pick you were against you, but like, sometimes I don't. Like, if Zachary Risache is never an amazing player, I'm not gonna be like he's a bust because he was a number 1 pick. Sometimes it's like someone has to go number 1.
Right.
Like, not all number 1 picks are created equal. Does that make sense?
So if James Wiseman plays until 2030 and he produces
12 years he played.
He produces exactly what he produced this year. Exactly what he produced this year. 17 minutes a game.
Did he not play
2 points or 7 points? If he did, oh no. Last year, my bad. He only played 1 game this year. Last year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say he comes back from injury. He plays 6 more seasons until 2030. That would total 11 total seasons for James Wiseman. Is he a bust?
Kwame Brown's a bust. He convinced me. There you go. Yeah, James Wiseman's a bust. Yeah, I'm not sorry. Yeah, okay. You got it wrong. Good work.
Like, you was the number 1 overall pick. You were supposed to be at least a starter level player for your whole career.
Kwame started, right?
Starter level player.
Yes, he did.
I mean, you ain't start because you're not starter level. How long was he? He started like a third of his games.
I'm saying like it's
okay,
players on the Nets and the Wizards.
You got it.
You know,
yeah, Kwame probably does. Yeah, probably. I don't think he was a terrible player. I'll say that. I don't think he was terrible. I don't think he was very good.
Another one for the list is Jerry McNamara. He played with Melo.
Yeah.
Jerry McNamara.
He shouldn't be mentioned in this group, but he was.
What you mean, bro?
Man,
like,
no,
I'm going through the list.
Was Jerry Mac? Was he better than Warwick?
Hakeem? In college?
Who was also on that Syracuse team?
He was more important. No, he was more important that run.
No, he
wasn't.
Chill.
He was the only shooter they had on the roster. The only one. He was the one making all the big threes.
No question about that.
They had no other shooters except for him and Melo. Like, Hakeem Warwick was an elite defender. Again, I like Hakeem Warwick because he went to Memphis. I thought he was going to end up being somebody. Like, but he just wasn't that kind of player. Like, he just wasn't. Like, he just didn't have it in him. But I'm going through this list.
He was a dog.
We brought up Chris Webber on Michigan, 19-10.
Yeah, what Jokic doing in college?
Respects. At Harvard.
Troll alert.
Joakim Noah. We did not bring him up.
So we didn't bring up none of that Florida team.
Al Horford, Corey Brewer, all of them. Drew Timme. Shout out Drew Timme.
Luka Garza.
Luka Garza.
Luka Garza is another one of the best college players I've ever seen.
Sure.
He was fine.
And I knew that wasn't going to translate to the league, but he's one of the best college players I ever seen.
Hey, Mars. Shout out Candace Parker's former husband.
No, man.
In college?
No, he was not. No,
in college, he was good. What are you talking about?
Was he better than Cherokee Parks at Duke?
What?
No, he wasn't.
Sheldon Williams was cold in college.
Sheldon was all right.
Was he better than Cherokee Parks?
How many rings did he win? He won 1 or 2?
I don't know, but he was good at Duke. I don't know what Sheldon's talking about, dog.
I know he was, and so was Cherokee Parks.
No, but I don't think just for context, y'all, I had a huge crush on Candace Parker. When I saw who she was married to, I was shocked. So, like,
what that do with anything?
I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. Like, Sheldon was good. Because I'm telling you, Sheldon was a really good basketball player. I didn't think he was that good.
He's
So, like,
he's
we're- you
so
know what I mean?
good that
He
people
got
are able to
Kansas.
overlook
Hey, look,
certain
you
things.
asked
Oh, so he got bonus points for that?
The 100%. Yeah, that teenager, Candace Parker. Yeah, every day of the week. Every day of the week. 100%. That definitely got your point. Karan Butler was another one, y'all. She go on this list. Andrew Bogut went to Utah. I forgot about that. Did you like Obi Toppin at Dayton?
Love
If
Toby
the-
Toppin at Dayton.
If the
I'm on record. I said I thought he was Zion but could shoot. I was wrong.
just so if
So that's what I thought.
I'm on record. I think that if COVID doesn't shut the season down, Dayton winning the national championship that year. I think they winning the whole thing. I do. I think
That
they
was
were
a
that
crazy
good.
year, dog.
Yeah,
I was
they
so
were that,
high on Obi.
they were that good. I think that they were that good.
What pick
All right,
was Obi
y'all.
Toppin in the draft? 8?
8 to the Knicks.
Chill. Who was better? Who was a better player? You or Sean May?
Sean May. Sean May was
Sean
better.
May was alright though.
That's the dude. That's the dude from.
May was better than me.
I did not
That's
like
the dude
Yeah,
from North Carolina, right? The big guy.
Yeah, Sean May
I did not
coaches
like
somewhere
Sean
too
May.
right now.
Yeah, he was better than me.
Where does he coach right now?
I don't know, dog.
He's either in the he might be with the Nets. He's either in the league or he's at UNC. But he's somewhere coaching them.
Sean May. He's what you call it? He's on he's on North Carolina coaching staff.
Okay.
Hey, man. And then my last one I'll say, Ron, is Sharon Collins. Another one I was completely wrong about. He was a point guard at Kansas. I thought he was
I remember
somebody.
Sharon. Kansas came with like 4 back-to-back point guards. Because remember Devontae Graham, they had Sharon Collins, they had Mario Chalmers, and then it's one more that
what's the Frank
he played for the Kings.
Frank
Mason.
Frank Mason. That's right.
Kansas is good for putting out a point guard who doesn't really pan into the league, but is All-American. But all right, y'all, we got super chats, and you guys got to like the video, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell. And I got to shout out our Hall of Famers because they are the GOATs. Vale, Multi-Kenny, Cheese, SSG, SS Popo, Minor, and Tyrus Williams. Salute to all of our Hall of Famers, and salute to everybody that's watching the video right now, especially everybody that is watching on Twitter. All right, we got super chat, so let's make it happen. The first one is from Breezy. Breezy said, I feel for Jokic. He seems like a cool guy, but he's become so hated now from delusional goalpost movers like Swiper, Andy Kitchen Sink Bailey, Harrison. Jokic is an elite defender when he tries win.
So it's basically the different media. Yeah, I understand. I hear you.
I mean,
Is Jokic
you guys do be yapping. Who's the one? I don't know that because I see it on your show up. Who's the one who posts like these blind player graphics?
Oh, that's Andy
like,
Bailey. Andy Bailey. He's been doing that for
oh
years now.
my god! And then every time player A is insert great player, player B Nikola Jokic. And
But
he
he's
has,
been
like,
doing that, to be
90%
fair,
of the
for like
vote.
5 years.
Like,
It's been
god
5
damn!
years.
Like, how many times I'm gonna see?
But
the
it didn't
same
used to. But
graphic?
Mar, this is the problem. Jokic has moved out of the window of like he's Denver good. They started doing that when he was just within Denver and nobody knew who he was for real. So then it moved to like, oh, Jokic is winning MVPs, and now people are like, oh, like you're glazing, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just he's just a bigger name now. That's what happened. That's how it moves. Like time, eventually, you live long enough to become the your worst enemy. That's you start off as a hero, as a small market hero, and then you move up, and then you become the enemy to people. I moved from starting off from YouTube. Hey, nice, great guy. Denver, worked his way up, and then I moved into the enemy of the people among the Luka fans. Not the Giannis fans.
You be yapping on Twitter.
I'm defending. Yeah, bro. That's
yap.
Twitter. It's Twitter. What you want me to do? Not yap.
I would never yap.
You always yap on Twitter.
Yes, you
I would.
You will post a poll with no context. Chris Webber or Jokic.
That's not me yapping.
It'd be in the middle of the show, bro. It'd be like every time I'll scroll on Twitter.
And by the way, Mars has already confirmed how big of a deal you are, Swipe, because he's on Twitter and he follows you specifically for that.
Yeah,
But you gotta admit, Mars. You gotta admit, in terms of stirring conversation, I'm up there for sure.
Yeah, because you're an elite yapper for sure.
But that's what I'm saying. You got to be good at it. Like you got to know what you're doing, bro. Like people, I tell people this all the time. I feel like y'all can attest to this.
So you're admitting you're a good yapper.
I know it. I'm good at what I do. I think people have to admit, if you talking to me on like a platform is different than like interacting on Twitter. Then you can actually have like sensible conversation. Because anything else you can't do context. There's no context applied to anything. So then it becomes this blow up scene or whatever else. But you know, shout out. You know, and I get emotional too. So like if I'm live game tweeting, that's the worst time. That's the worst time to listen to what.
Oh yeah, we've heard. You know, I'm not on Twitter. See, Mars is on Twitter because of you. I'm not on Twitter because of you. But I've heard about your rants throughout the game. I've heard it's quite the roller coaster, Swiper.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what we are. We're emotional beings. We're human beings, and like
that's true.
But when you cross like 1,000 SWAT followers, all of a sudden it's like, look what he's saying. Definitively saying this.
I use my platform for good. Swap.
No, you do not. You are, and this is the thing about Mars. And matter of fact, the bums that matter of fact, me and JD, we grew close when we were in San Francisco. That guy, who I'm friends with, and his family now at this point, I gave him cool points. And Claire, and everybody else behind the scenes. Y'all clip that little thing from Mars talking about, I swipe be hating on Tatum. You search up Tatum, he searches up SGA, and he'll just quote tweet and put, and now you got people running with it and believing it. That's not what happens at all. But Mars is a narrative pusher. You are 1,000% a narrative pusher. Mars is the same person that said he hates narratives, but he will actively do it. He does it all the time. And what he'll do, he'll go under your tweet if you say something he thinks he disagrees with. And then next thing you know, he'll try to ratio you based on what you say.
I succeed every time.
No, because I told you people with the Gen Z follow you.
No,
because you're a yapper.
Knows you're yapping.
Because you're a yapper. But we understand. John D doesn't even yap like that. You're a yapper. Chill doesn't yap. Now Chill yaps on TikTok, but he has to. He knows why he's doing it. But Ron, he doesn't yap on social media because he knows better. No, now you yap on Instagram comment sections.
I only ratio you because everyone knows you're yapping, and I decided to use my platform for good.
Prove it. What did I yap about? What did I yap about, Mars?
Why you delete that tweet the other day, Swiper? Maybe yesterday?
Because it was a live game tweet. And then what happened was it was a live game tweet, and then I was like, bro, I'm not gonna have to explain this whole thing. I just got rid of it, just like the Russell Westbrook tweet during the game.
Even for your standards of yap, that was a bit too far.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I was emotional. Now, let me get it off.
I don't even know what the tweet said now.
It don't matter, John D. It
doesn't matter. By the way, I seen John D uses his platform and he interacts with some questionable tweets. I'm not gonna bring it up.
We're not gonna talk about it because
John D, you might want to get on a burner, buddy.
Wait, what did you do, John D?
No, it was a questionnaire, right? It was a questionnaire, and I just answered the question, and I'm thinking like, because mind you, I be forgetting like, I use my Twitter to like talk about ball. And then I forget I'm just scrolling.
Twitter
I'm like
at the Buzzer Sports, by the way. He forgets he's talking about basketball on his
So I'm like, I comment on this little tweet, and like an hour later, Mars is like, you need a burner, and I just deleted it instantly. I'm like, yeah.
What was it about?
I looked out for you.
It was
something
about
that you probably shouldn't have on your at the Buzzer Sports page.
It was about the archetypes. It was about archetypes.
We all love a good archetype. I wish I could get into mine, but y'all, we got to get back into super chats. I did run a poll, and I asked, how is Jokic treated? And these are the 4 answers I gave you guys. Is he hated? Is he loved?
This is so
glazed?
Funny. Because literally
appreciated.
When I just knew y'all through thought, before he won a ring, the entire narrative around him was different. If you would have ran that same damn poll, they would have said overrated because he hadn't done anything. But now 2 years later, he's won, and now he got another MVP. Now he's averaging a triple-double. I think he's having the best offensive he's never. Now he's glazed. I say the chat.
To be fair, I mean, like
that's the
you
shit.
Got the people who are high on Jokic pre-ring. The Denver people, shout out to you guys. You get credit. You watch them every game. Cool. The real ones who are just ahead of the curve, like myself, that's cool. The issue is now he's won. You guys feel like you have free reign to just say anything, and it's like
you guys is crazy.
You can't just keep lying about how he's not that bad defensively. Like he's like,
no, it depends on who you talk
wasn't
to.
that good defensively.
No, well, he wasn't. That's objectively true. But also, it depends on who you talk to and what you're talking about. Like you're gonna get levels. There's levels to all this stuff. But anyway, we can move on. There's another super chat about this down the line. I know it's coming. For sure.
Tupac Westside sent through a super chat and said Kwame wasn't great, but I can't say he was a bust, Ron. He played for over a decade, and former teammates and coaches have defended him. Rasheed, Ben Wallace, AI, and Mark Jackson, etc.
What was Kwame Brown good at?
But he was a
I just think
dominant paint scorer when he was young.
Yeah, and he was a space eater too, and that was really important during that time.
A space eater?
He was a space eater, and that was really important during that time as big guys. I know that doesn't sound like much, but with the paint being as condensed as it was back then, and big guys like Shaq and Dwight Howard and Rasheed Wallace and big guys like that, I just think it was a big deal that Kwame Brown was the space eater that he was. He wasn't a great rim protector, but he was good enough.
So let me get this right. Swiper said he was dominant in the paint when he was younger. So
I'm talking about like why he got drafted.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was Swipe. That was and Chill said.
School.
And Chill said
He was dominant in high school.
So all he was good at was being big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First part of his career, he didn't have any skills. He had no skills.
I've never heard the term space eater before either.
That's a nice way of saying he was a big body.
That sounds like a species of alien or something. Space eater.
Nice way of saying he's a big body. That's what that was.
That's what he was.
Chill. Who is one booty? Who is that?
Ooh, what?
Who was one booty? Okay.
You know who he is.
Oh, nice.
I like when Chill had beef with the chat. Personally, it's entertaining for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't been reading the chat too much.
That's what I'm here for.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been locked in.
Mars.
I'm watching Michael Beasley right now.
Because I rarely jump into the chat, post show and read the comments. For some reason, last night I got bored, so I jump into the comments and I'm just reading. You guys are nasty and disgusting. You guys know who you are. Everybody's saying what they're saying about Penn, and I just keep scrolling. I'm reading some things. Some people are getting at Ox saying, of course, Ox thinks that Weber is this, yada, yada, yada. Chill had a comment or two, and all of a sudden, I see Mars Talk Sports. No words at all. Just one emoji, and it's a ninja.
Okay.
If you were here yesterday, you know what that means.
I don't know what that has to do with.
It's a good comment. It was a good comment. It was a good comment. I think that was a really good comment.
Emoji, and it's a ninja.
I think just for Penn's mental health, he should probably stay out of the comments because it seems like it does no good for him.
Bro, literally, they be on Penn.
Like the comments clearly don't like Penn. Penn seems to take it very personally. It doesn't seem like it's doing great for his mental health. So Penn, if you're watching this, you could just not read the comments, right? Like if the comments bother you, you could just not read them. Like,
you just stay away from it, sure.
I've told Penn stay out the comment. I've told Penn stay out the live comments. I've told Penn don't read the comments. But for some reason, Penn just wants to be.
Sorry, like maybe he's a masochist.
But I feel like
maybe he's a masochist. I don't know.
But I feel like honestly, like if the chat, because the chat picks this days where the people are the enemy. Today I'm the enemy, and I know why I'm the enemy because Luka fans are triggered, and so I'm the enemy today. But Penn's the enemy because of stuff. Mars is never the enemy because he is a chatter. Chill's the enemy because he's
I have people who hate me.
He's Wilt Chamberlain. John D just doesn't.
Kareem?
You don't.
I have two people who just be yapping about.
I only know one. I just know one.
Oh yeah, Kareem.
That's it.
John D doesn't have enemies.
Shout out the boy Kareem and shout out
NYC. Create enemies like this. He's not controversial. Respectfully, he just doesn't do anything controversial. You don't say anything off the wall. Matter of fact, somebody said it.
He does. John D does. He's a Laker fan.
His biggest criticism today was somebody said he just repeats what Mars says. But like they're
not true.
I don't think that's true, but
you have an original thought.
But that's not a real critique.
It's really the opposite. John D.
This is the thing. I think the chat is funny as hell when they're like cool. Like this should be. I'd be crying at the chat, but then it's like it be grown men in here like every day, every morning, sending money to hate on people.
Like, the entire time, too, by the way, John D. Like, they ain't here for like 20 minutes. No, the whole time they're here.
Like the stock market is crashing and they're still sending super chats.
I'm gonna be honest. I think those people deserve credit. You know how dedicated you have to be. Like hating on NBA players is one thing, right? But hating on a regular man to hate on like people like us, like I'm sorry,
all day.
That's dedicated hate. Like, I'm gonna give you credit at that point. You dedicated to this.
Because don't forget, Mars.
5 times a week.
Don't
go
forget,
to
Mars.
Walmart like everybody else. Like, what is we?
Because don't forget, Mars. We're here on the panel. And then we come back at night and we're on playback, and those same people are doing it again.
I'm telling you, it's dedication. It's dedication.
Yes, those same
JD,
people.
You are a hater. You clipped that. You know what you did. JD is one of the haters this week. Ron, the thing is, and this is what I keep hearing. Ron doesn't really have chat haters, and neither does and Ox doesn't. The verbatim, what they said was, we don't expect much. Like when they just yap, we know they're yapping. They literally said, we know they're yapping about stuff. Like the whole Chris Webber, it's not a big talking point. Everybody knows what that was. When Ron, he starts supporting Giannis, we know what it is. He's just yapping. He doesn't actually believe it. Because he couldn't go back to Hallie the next day, go back to Giannis that next day, and then whoever he likes that day is going to be the new target. It's just yapping. That's just what it is. I understand.
It's good to have low expectations. Like, that's cool. I got a low bar.
Yeah,
like,
we're at the point where I'm reading comments that are more mad at me for not frying Ox for saying Chris Webber's better than Jokic. They're mad at me for Ox's bad take and me not debating it. Like, come on. Shout out to, I can't remember who it was who left that comment, but shout out to them. But I'm always saying shout out to the haters, man. The haters are dedicated, and I respect dedication.
Oh, God.
All right, y'all. Well, moving along in these super chats, Grindo24 sent through a super chat and said, you don't get MVP credit for dominant individual losses and 17 and a half games back of the first seed. Someone on this very panel said it best.
That was your tweet about Luka last year, right?
Yeah, and the thing was, it was so many other things said about that season, including he wasn't good enough that they're missing. This is the thing I learned about Nick Wright and all these Luka fans. They cannot sit in this place that Luka wasn't good as two other players last year. So in their brain, for me, I'm saying for me personally, then it becomes this defensive thing about like, well, clearly, like goalposts are moving. You know, I'm telling you this right now, and I told Mars this before. SGA is going to win the MVP in a landslide, and he deservedly so. Deservedly so.
You think he wins it going away, Swiper?
Well, I think he's going to be. It's probably based on like how the next 5 games go, and based on the 60 game. In reality, it's probably going to be 75.
He's going to get like 75 votes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about that. I think it's going to be which is deserved. But this is what I'm saying. The fact that Jokic is having like this season is why I'm saying he's been the best player in the world. But he's not going to win it because it's the record stuff that's going to back and which is fine. Like that's fair. That's like more traditional voting. I think some of this is also like if you're asking me, who I've told you multiple times, best player, you win the MVP for me every year. Karl Malone never would have won one for me. I've said this multiple times. Charles Barkley wouldn't have won one for me. I've said this multiple times. I don't have traditional voting standards like everybody else. So I mean, that's just me though, you know, personally.
If Jokic never had an MVP, you think he wins it this year?
This is my other problem with it. You know who said that? Tim Bontemps said that, and Chris Broussard said that. They said that multiple people have said this. That if Jokic hadn't already won one and it was 0-0, and Jokic was having this season, I would be more inclined to give him the MVP this year based on how he's played. The issue is that multiple people have said you lean towards the dude who doesn't have one. And I'm saying, and on top of that, Mars, he has an excellent MVP case. And on top of that, they're maybe going to win 69, 70 games. All three of those things are why it's going to be so overwhelming. But if it was 0-0, I mean, that's why
I can never get with like that part there. Like, if you're going to vote for Shea, you should vote for Shea because of how good he's been, not because this guy has 3 MVPs already. Like, you should judge each season as its own individual entity and stop looking at what happened before. That's my opinion on it, but it will never change.
But
shout out to Shea. I do think Shea's going to win.
I think record stuff is stupid though, because I just don't think you can. Because you can't. They didn't do this in 2021. They didn't do it in 2022, and then they didn't do it in 2023. So like, we don't use record as a preeminence anymore. So like, but that's become the argument now, if that makes sense. It's like, and I'm saying I think that's too far, but I also understand the context of why. But if you're asking me, like, just like based on player value, you know, I'm always going to lean towards the generational GOAT. Always.
Well, they 100% use record. Swiper. The Denver Nuggets before Jamal Murray went down, they were top 3 seed.
When?
In the Western Conference. Before Jamal Murray went down.
Are they not the 4th seed right now?
I ain't even talking about. I'm talking about in 21. Before Jamal Murray.
Yeah, no, they finished at 3. They finished at 3 that year.
I think they were at number 2.
Well, Milwaukee had the number 1 record in the NBA that year.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. But he finished 3rd.
Yes,
and then Jokic had the first seed.
Jamal Murray went down.
The first seed in 23, and then he finished 2nd. So I'm saying like, and the Sixers were the 3rd seed. So like, it's just like obviously it matters when it doesn't. You know,
no, but you don't have to. You don't have to have the number 1 seed, but you have to win.
Well,
and
winning is relative because if you're above 500, you're winning.
Okay, who won MVP last year?
Joker.
Where did Denver finish?
Tied
for first.
They were tied for first.
They were tied for first. So There are anomalies.
Excellent.
There are anomalies, which is the 22 season when he was in the sixth space, and then also with Russ when he was in the sixth space in 17. But for the most part, each one of these league MVP guys is a if I'm not mistaken, at the lowest a 3 seed.
Typically 3 to 2.
I think Steve Nash was the lowest one. I think he was a 3 seed in 05 or 06. He was a 3 seed. Yeah,
but Jordan, for instance, Jordan had we had this conversation already in the 1988 season. Jordan had the 6th or 7th best record in the NBA.
Yeah, they were 3rd in the East.
Yeah, like who cares? I don't care. That just means nothing to me. Like it doesn't mean anything to me. He was the best player in basketball. Like you win regardless, like of what your record standing. I think if you're a winning player and then you're winning 50 plus games or around 50 plus games, which all these players, Giannis and Jokic and SGA, winning 50 plus games, then who's had the most impactful in the best season for me? And for me, I think that's more important to reward that than it is to reward, because the MLB is very similar to this. MLB doesn't do like standings and all that stuff.
Nah,
like,
whoever the best player is, that's your league MVP right there.
Barry Bonds has how many? Chill, like
6.
Like yeah, come on, bro. Like
yes.
Barry Bonds was the greatest player I've ever seen in my life.
And which, by the way, Mars, like the GOAT debate that we have in basketball with Michael Jordan's got 6 NBA championships and Bill Russell has 11 NBA championships. I don't know if you know this, Mars, but Barry Bonds. These how many World Series he has?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't win anything, but it wasn't his fault. Mars, they literally built a walk system for Barry Bonds to keep him from dominating in the playoffs. They walked him on a third of his bats. Barry Bonds that year he had 72 home runs. Mars, they walked him a third of the possessions at bat that season. Mars, a third. And he hit
I don't know much about baseball, but I'd assume you can't win by yourself. So
no, you can't. There's no way. Baseball is the biggest team sport.
Swiper, I want to ask you though.
What?
How many MVPs do you believe, and including this year too? How many MVPs do you believe Jokic should have?
5. Oh yeah, 5.
And so this year will be his 5th?
Yeah, this will be the 5th year. This is the best non-Jokic season for anybody though. So I'm saying like SGA like has.
If I was the voter, he'd have 4.
Well, yeah, you said the Steph Curry year.
Including this year, Mars.
Yeah. If I was voting, he'd have 4.
But he wouldn't have this year.
No, he'd have this year.
He wouldn't have the Steph Curry 21 year where Steph finished 3rd.
Steph would have won in 21 to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Steph had a great argument that year, by the way.
So
he finished 3rd. Didn't Curry finish 3rd that year?
He did.
Mm-hmm.
And they
so
didn't.
Y'all both believe that SGA shouldn't win MVP this year.
I've been consistent. Whoever I think plays the best to me is the MVP. I think Jokic has played better than anyone in the NBA. But I've also been very consistent that I think SGA is going to win the award comfortably. And I think he has the best typical MVP case in the NBA. So I'm not mad that SGA is going to win it. In fact, I understand it. It's just if I was a voter, I would have changed the whole system a long time ago. So this is different, 2 different questions. But I think SGA should and will win it based on how
Jokic would have 5 straight. LeBron would have had 5 straight.
5 straight?
5.
Yeah, he would go from 21 to 25.
Yeah, 21 to now.
James should have won. James should have won it 5
straight. Easy.
Yes,
not even
LeBron definitely should have won 5 straight. In my opinion.
Yes, he should have won it 5 straight.
That Derrick Rose year was
to be honest with you, I think Jordan should have won it 5 straight too, because I think he should have won it in '89.
Yep.
Because I think he had a better year in '89 than he did in '88.
Larry, if you ask me, I mean Larry Bird. I mean he arguably should have more than 3, I believe. I think that like the Moses Malone year, he finished 2nd behind Moses Malone that year. Like, you know what I mean? There's just
that's Moses Malone, though. You know,
no, but it's Larry Bird. Larry was the best player of the 80s. Like
you could make a case that James Harden could have won 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah,
James Harden has 3 or 4 in my opinion. To me, but
like
I think we're going to do that one day. I think I would like to go all the way back as far as you guys want to go and just you guys list.
I did that on Twitter. I went back to 2000, but
yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he cheated though. He went to 2000. He wasn't a real one. Get back in the 70s like me. I think.
Bob McAdoo's
how many would Wilt have? Because Bill Russell and Wilt were like
PS4.
Yeah, but they coincided a lot. There are a lot of elite seasons between those two. And I even in that Bill Russell season that he won over Wilton 63 was that the 50 and 25 year? 62. Yeah, I mean that's another one of those like.
I'm the reason I don't go that far back. Like I know for a fact I don't have enough sample of games to tell you who should have been the MVP in 63. Like, I know I don't. Most of the games I can watch from there are playoff games, so I couldn't give you any regular season. So I just stay away from things I don't think I can answer. But I think 4 MVPs for Wilt Chamberlain sounds about right. and I think
Yeah,
Gross
he won
was 4 or 5. That sounds right.
So Chamberlain won it. Chamberlain won it his rook season. That was
And then
the
he
first
won
time
3
ever
straight
happened.
from
And he won 3 straight.
65 to 68. 65 to 67. Okay.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
He was the 68 MVP.
Russell,
Do you think so? If we're doing it like this in March, would you say the MVPs, based on what we're saying, they would coincide with the best peaks of all time?
No, it's Chamberlain. I'm
For the
sorry,
most part,
Mars. Chamberlain won it in
Probably. I mean, if we
68,
have
67, and in 66.
Yeah, okay, I was right. Yeah, 66 to 68. Yes. I
Going
haven't
back
questioned my
to it,
60s knowledge.
if you say like if they're coinciding with the best peaks, I mean, we're talking about LeBron in Miami
Yeah,
winning
it'll be
probably
Kareem.
5 straight.
It'll be Wilt, Russell, Kareem, Bird, and then it'll be Jordan. Hakeem
Yeah.
only would have won with no Jordan in the league, so Hakeem would be there because Jordan didn't exist.
I
Then
think that was
Jordan-
around Hakeem's peak anyway, though.
Yeah, well, he was 30. He was 31, 32 by that point. But yeah,
That
right.
year, so if you put Jordan in the league in '94,
He
in
wins.
'93, '94, and
'Cause remember Jordan off
What's the
that
year?
Suns title.
Yeah.
Chill. Remember Jordan, that Sun year was wild, but they had the second best record in the league that year. I think.
who?
If I remember
The Bulls?
the Bulls
Third.
behind the Suns. The third. They had the third best record in the league.
The third.
If Jordan doesn't take that year and a half off, chill.
I'm thinking about if he doesn't take that year off and he plays in the 93-94 season with the season that Olajuwon had, you still think Jordan wins the league MVP?
Well, it's
now
that,
remember too, and
Yeah.
before you go any further, I want you to remember too that Houston Rockets team. I mean, they started the season I think 14 and 15 and 0. They were 22-1 at one point.
Right.
They were rolling.
right.
They were
But
completely
the
rolling.
thing, and
Olajuwon
again,
was dominant on both sides of the basketball.
this
He was
goes back
incredible.
to the Markelle Fultz thing. I don't know. I don't know what Jordan's father passing, what that would have done to him if he would have kept playing. So I don't know. But I think if he was normal Jordan, he probably still would have been MVP that year. But so then you go after that, chill. So then you get into Malone, but then you get into Shaq,
Right.
and then you get into Steve Nash and Kobe and them, and Dirk and Kevin Garnett. Who would have the most MVPs in the 2000s if that was you, Mars?
When I did it, I think I said Steve Nash, but I'll check.
Yeah, he had 3 or 2.
Those MVPs are still
05 to 07, I had Steve Nash. But I might have had Kobe in 06. Let me check. Let me just bring up my tweet.
All I know, and
I had Shaq in 2000, Shaq in 01, Duncan in 02, KG in 03 and 04, Nash from 05 to 07, Kobe in 08, Bron in 09, 10, 11, 12, and 13, KD in 14, James Harden in 15, Steph in 16, James Harden from 17 to 19, Giannis in 2020, Steph in 21, Jokic from 22 to now. And then I said there was a couple debatable ones. So KG in 03 was debatable, him and Tim Duncan. 06 was debatable between Nash, Kobe, Bron, Dirk. 2015 was debatable between Harden and Steph. And then 2025 I would consider SGA. So these aren't definitive, but that was what I had.
I don't give James Harden enough credit for what he did in 2015. He was fucking enormous. He was awesome that year. He was. I don't give him enough credit.
and it wasn't like Dwight. Didn't he miss like half the season?
He missed half the season, yeah. And they won 56 games, I think. And James Harden was amazing.
Yeah,
I just gotta say, y'all, Kobe should at least have 3 MVPs.
Yes,
best case scenario, I think Kobe has 2, 06 and 08. I don't see how you get him any other MVPs personally. I think he's a
player, Ron. He not winning.
It's weird because I think Kobe's a 3-time MVP caliber player. Like, obviously, he's an all-time Pantheon great. But I don't think he should have 3 MVPs. I don't think there's 3 separate seasons where he was the best player in the regular season. Personally, I don't think that exists. I think he's a 3 MVP level player. So
could Dirk could 06 was so like Nash. So remember at that time from 06 to 8, 05 to 8, Nash, Dirk, and LeBron and Kobe were all peaking.
Yes.
And so that's the problem. It's like Dirk was a lot better than I think people give him credit for, and so was Nash. So I think that's and then LeBron started like, I guess I might be the best at this thing. And then, by the time you get to 08, it's like LeBron is like,
I don't know how we all watched that 2006 year and don't think Kobe is by far the best player in the NBA.
I said Kobe 06 is the one that I would be fine giving Kobe. I said Kobe Kobe 2, 08 and 06. That's fine. Perfectly.
I
Fine
can
everything
see
else. I don't see what other year you give Kobe the MVP.
I give
06
him
and 08,
I
I'm
give him
fine.
06, 07, and 08.
I don't think
07?
he wins it over
Yes,
Nash.
07 too.
I don't know. 07
07 is
over
scored.
Dirk. He was better than Dirk in 07.
Come on.
Not in the regular
Dirk
season.
was
We had this
never in his
conversation already, dog.
life.
Yeah, Kobe was a
Dream
better
of even
player.
better than
Kobe was a better player. I don't know if he played better in the regular season. Which is
I mean,
what the award is.
I still led the league in scoring.
But he wasn't a better.
I gave you 3 points less.
We're gonna do
4
this again.
points less,
We already did
but,
this 3 months ago, and I got yelled at, so I'm not gonna do it.
I'm like Kobe was a better defender.
I'm
was
fine.
Worst
he was a
offensive
better
player that
scorer.
year, by the way. Like a worse offensive player.
I would have been more comfortable giving it to Dirk or Nash because I think Nash's floor that he provided offensively was just extremely valuable, and he was playing at the level of a top 5 player in the NBA. But
I'm just
Mel,
relying on
Mel, I
Nash.
think some of this is like because he said you just said doing MVPs off who's the best player. Now it doesn't mean that it is. But I'm saying Dirk was the best player in 07.
Who played
None
the
of them
best?
were ever
Like,
played better than Kobe.
They were
Like
like
I
not.
you don't know how high I am on Steve Nash, but that's besides the
how
point.
you guys.
Like,
were.
I know how high you are on him, Mars.
No, because
I
I don't.
I know-
Like
I know how
everyone
high-
knows I'm high on Steve Nash.
I think
Everyone
Steve
knows.
Nash had a legit.
People don't know
think he had a
how
legit
high I
case
am on
for,
Steve Nash.
for MVP in 07. And the voters, they ain't had a nuts to give it to him for a third straight year. They didn't.
07 is
because
the
of
best
the
Steve Nash
conference
ever
finals
was.
drop.
They didn't have. They ain't had a
07
nuts
is
to give it to him.
07 is by far the best Steve Nash ever was. Like that's
Better
by
than
far
06
his-
and 05. Now the
He
reason
just
why
didn't win the MVP that year.
the reason why 06 was a big deal because he ain't had Stoudemire for the whole year. That's why that was a big deal.
Mhm.
But in 07, they didn't have the nuts to give it to him considering what he was doing. I think he was 50, 40, 90 that year.
Chill,
If he
and
wasn't,
I'll say
he
this
was pretty
among
damn
all
good.
time,
He shot
all-time great
45%
players, there's
from
probably the biggest gap between how fans and media see him and how players see him with Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Steve Nash is beloved by players. Fans are the ones, and like
pull out my notes.
media's like they're the ones that slander him.
Mhm.
But people that played with Nash,
Steve
except for
Nash
Shaq.
in 07, I'm
Except
pretty
Shaq.
sure led the league in true shooting percentage. I'm pretty sure.
So,
He also
those-
led the league in effective field goal percentage too. So if you
07,
He was
Yeah.
incredible.
Go through his entire peak like +9 relative
Yeah,
true shooting.
19 and 12 that
Like-
year. He was 19 and 12 that year, and he was shooting 45% from three and 4.5 attempts a game, which if you scaled out to now is close to 7.
Do
And
you
then
know
if
how
you
crazy 65% true shooting is in
It's
2007?
nuts.
That's
especially how
if I
slow the game is.
if I'm-
All
I'm
pull up
correct,
threes,
if I
pull up
guess
mid-range
correct, that's a
shots.
plus 13. Is that a plus 13?
He was plus 11.3
yeah, bro. Like come on,
in
bro.
07. Plus 11.3 relative.
That's
true
Steph
shooting.
16. That's Jokic 20. That's Jokic 23. Ron.
Now, obviously, the scoring volume isn't the same, but like he's responsible, like pretty much single-handedly for creating offense for one of the greatest offensive teams in NBA history.
The fifth
like,
relative to era.
I'm fine with people like Steve Nash. Oh yeah, Steve Nash wasn't 50, 40, 90 because he missed one extra free throw. If he made a free throw, he's 50, 40, 90. I'm fine with Steve Nash isn't a better player than Kobe Bryant. Cool. I don't think anyone's making that argument. But Steve Nash, in my opinion, played at such a high level during those regular seasons that I think his MVPs are not only justified. I think I can make a stronger argument that he should have more than he has. I'm more comfortable arguing Steve Nash should have 3 MVPs than I am arguing he should have.
And by the way, Dirk doubled up Steve Nash in voting that year, Ron, and Kobe had 2 first place votes that year.
But you know why? Like
no,
we all know why this. was
yeah,
the
I know,
case with
but
Kobe.
yeah,
Like,
I hear
come
you.
on.
Trust me, I understand the
I'm telling
context.
you,
But I'm also
if we
looking
move
at
this
how
to
they were
any other
playing.
year, if we move this to this year and these guys do what they're doing, it's essentially.
No, I think the why Kobe wasn't getting votes is because the Lakers were barely above 500. Like we can say it's politics and they didn't like him because of Colorado. I think it's because the Lakers were barely above 500. That's the reason he wasn't getting votes.
Yeah, and so the politics, and then you can say the record as well. But here's also the thing too. Once again, so all of a sudden we pick and choose when we want to use context. My thing is, you could look at Steve Nash's teams.
Picked him because of
that. I'm saying we could look at Steve Nash's teams and see who he had with him both seasons, with or without Amari. That Phoenix team was still a monster. And then you look at Kobe's team, and we just had the guy who we were talking about, Kwame Brown, up here. Is he a bust or not? And 4 other starters that you guys probably can't even mention.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like Kobe dragged and carried a team full of. I don't want to disrespect them as basketball players, but a team full of players that were inferior. Whereas Steve Nash, you crafted one of the best offenses of all time, but you didn't do it with inferior players. You had a hell of a squad around you. You had firepower. and you had a coach that implemented.
Well, okay, what about? Wait, hold on. What about
that
Dallas?
implemented a system that allowed you to flourish.
Yeah, that's where I'll disconnect. Like for me, when I talk about like who's performing the best, who's the most valuable, like I'm not as high on floor raising as you are. You're very high on floor raising. So like that's why I said I'm fine with Kobe having that case, because I think 06, 07, not as much. 06 like is like an all-time great floor raising job. And I brought it up. The Lakers without Kobe have like the worst offensive rating of all time. When Kobe was on the floor, they were the third best offense in the NBA, only behind the Suns and the Mavericks. Like that's to me is Kobe's MVP case, not the record. I don't care about the record. Like that, I'm fine. Like I had Nash there mainly because I'm like trying to illustrate like how dominant I think Nash was for that stretch. But like if someone says Kobe, I'm absolutely fine with Kobe. I'm not gonna argue against 06 being Kobe. 07, you're kind of losing me. But like 06, because of how good the Lakers were with him on the floor, because of how much he was able to elevate that offense to a level it shouldn't have been at, I perfectly understand that. I just don't think 06, 07, and 08 were right. In fact, I could very strongly make an argument for Chris Paul in 08. I'm just not going to.
Well, they
So,
tried.
like,
Now, I'm glad you brought that up.
I think now for Kobe is fair. I think
they did everything that they could in 08 to keep that award away from Bryant. And I think the fact that the Lakers traded for Gasol, I think that helped, because I think that helped them winning. And we all know that winning has a lot to do with narrative. In terms of winning and narrative have a lot to do with winning the league MVP. And when they traded for Gasol, I mean, I think they had won 65 games that year in 08, something like that.
But even that 08 season, could you make an argument that Chris Paul was he probably?
I could make the argument. Like,
100%. Oh, 100%.
I think it's a good thing that Kobe got his MVP in 08. I think the voters knew it's now or never. If we don't give Kobe the MVP this year, he won't get one. And I think they knew historically that would just be wrong. If Kobe is like, because for that stretch, like whether or not we think he deserved the MVP, whether or not I think he deserved the MVP all of those years, Kobe was by most accounts the best player in the world. The playoffs came around, teams, coaches, media, whoever. Kobe was the best player in the world. Everyone knew that. So a guy who was the best player in the world for a handful of years, never having an MVP, that would have just looked weird.
But that was a legacy. But I don't
even. It made sense that he got it, even if I don't.
That was a big legacy push for Kobe to win an MVP that year. I'm not saying he obviously deserved it too, but I'm saying like there were several factors that went into that. So, but I'm saying 2 is tough because even 06, I think its argument is still like, it's just.
I wrote Steve Nash for a reason. I think
I want you guys to know though, Kobe Bryant scoring 35 points in 06. And 31 points in 07. You guys know what that, if we convert that to right now, or if we convert everybody's all-time scoring right now, Kobe has the highest scoring season ever. And I think that's outside of Will. But that translates to like 41 points today. You guys know how ridiculous that is?
I mean, how did you do that translation? You just translated it?
I'm looking at, I got the thing right here. Best score and point per game conversions to 2025. Kobe in 30, I don't know exactly how it converted, but it has everybody else's stuff on here. It has, I could put it on the screen. It has everybody else's best seasons. Kobe converts to 41.5 points today.
I mean, I would need to know how it. I would need to know how it was
everybody else's conversions.
Yeah, like, but I would need to know how it was converted. I believe. I'm not saying you're lying about what you're looking.
Formula.
I would need to know how it.
I get what you're saying, that you need to know the formula.
I'm trying to find it.
What I'm telling you is it has everybody else's top season, and nothing converts more than Kobe's 06 season.
Is that from NBA
the next
math?
year he came back and gave you damn near 32.
I mean, that makes sense because it was a slow-paced era and he put up a lot of points. So yeah, it makes sense when
you guys understand that was an all-time great scoring season.
We're not saying it's not.
I know Steve Nash put together an all-time analytical season, but Kobe gave you
the analytics don't love Steve Nash that much.
Which is crazy to me, considering how
all-time efficient season.
I don't get that. I don't get that with him because
it's an all-time season period.
The analytics aren't so very Steve Nash.
Defensive rebounding is heavy in that. Chill.
What, point guard?
And steals help as well.
Well, no, for a guard period. That's why Russell Westbrook in 16-17 they had to rewrite it because they did.
So yeah, Steve Nash isn't like an analytics darling. He's just really good.
Incredible.
It's just you're saying for you feel like the best floor raiser in the league should win MVP then?
No, I just think averaging 35.
He just thinks Kobe played better than everyone, which is a valid thing to say.
No, he did, but I'm stuck on this 35 points per game. Do you guys know how insane that was?
I mean, I have James Harden winning in 19. He averaged 36. So I mean,
like, in 06,
and he did win.
I'm giving you
what does that translate?
35 a game, and then the next year came back and gave you 32. Like I just think
Kobe was the best player. Kobe was the best basketball player alive. I'm gonna keep saying I'm not mad at Kobe being the 06 MVP. Like I said, at best I think he has 2. At worst I think he has none. But I think like two is fair. But
so Ron, who do you?
05 to 07 was a
I guess
dominant.
Based on that logic, Ron, who do you think who would be your MVP this year based on your kind of how you think about it?
Well, Shai's putting up 33.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if the points that would get you.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Is this like Kobe was a gap between him? Well, I think Allen Iverson averaged 33 that year. So Allen Iverson's right there. I think
Shai has I think
Shai does have a gap, but here's also the thing, too. Like Jokic, like him and Jokic are about 5 points off?
Jokic is 20. Jokic is 29.
Jokic about 29.
29.7.
29.7. So that's almost 30. And
about 3 points.
He's still damn near giving you 30, but it's just like for me to be top 3 in assists and top 3 in rebounds. To me, that excels Jokic over.
So it's top. So you're saying for you then a stat accumulation of top 3 in points, top two in steals, top 2 in rebounds, top 2 in assists. Like for you,
it's like Jokic is dominating on a whole nother level. So Jokic will be my MVP this year. And I don't want you guys to think I'm just looking at just stats too. I'm also looking at how they play. Like I watched Kobe play and I watched Steve Nash play. Kobe he looked like he was on another level.
Hot take. Kobe's better than Steve Nash.
Jokic looks like he's on another level. Like Shai's killing for sure, but Jokic is better.
And Jokic is better than SGA. I don't think that's a hot take.
Well, I think he's saying that his season is just more impressive, is what he's saying. And I think all of us, some of us feel that between them as players, there's a gap. But I think Ron seems to be a seasonal person, which I think is fair. I think that's like a very acute way of looking at the MVP. This is why, like, I think Luka fans are very short-sighted. I think they're, the MVP conversation moves every year. It does. It always has since the media took over. Like it always adjusts to the season.
With that being said, though, Swiper, you are, especially when you talk to me, you're very much a right now guy.
Yeah, for the MVP, for awards.
You're very much a right now guy. Yeah. So with Ron being a seasonal guy, like why would that be an issue? Considering
I'm saying I understand it. I agree with it too.
Okay,
to a degree. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Jokic has just been better than SGA this year.
I don't think he's been better by the degree that Swiper thinks he's been better.
I don't either.
Like, I think they've I could make the case Shai's been better. I wouldn't agree with the case. Like I wouldn't agree with myself, but I could make the argument. Right. That's how great.
I can make the argument that I feel like he's been more impactful to winning. That's it.
I do want to give SGA credit though, because SGA floor raising like crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, since January, OKC have been amazing regardless. So floor raising is a bit, but early on, he was definitely floor raising.
They have gotten what's happened is OKC have gotten healthier. They have moved from their elite without Chet in them to like they got Chet, and now they're like they might be the best team ever in the regular season context since everybody's gotten healthy. That's where they went from we're elite basketball team to basically since January. And I put this out like they're like a +6 without SGA, which is like the Celtics were a +8 2 years ago without Tatum, but they were a +8 with Tatum. Like they were like 2. They were just insane. But like
so if this Oklahoma City team, they're a +6 with SGA.
Without SGA.
I have a difficult time with that, and the reason and I want you guys to keep going because I just want to make sure I'm following you. Mm-hmm. So he's a +6 with him off the floor. And a +18, did you just say?
Like a plus. Yeah, I think it might have went down a little bit, but it's like a +17, +18.
And the reason why I have such a difficult time with the non-Jokic minutes and the inter-player minutes is because I've always felt like availability is your best ability, and if I'm here,
but it's just about the games he plays 34 minutes, so the 14 minutes a game he's off the floor.
Yeah, it's
not
what
just
happens.
Okay, I'm not playing
off the floor.
I think it's 2. I think if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's not based on that. That would be based on what on the sample of 96 minutes. It's based on every time he's on the bench, plus the games he doesn't play. All of that culminates to this is how much they win.
Yeah. So right now, chill, non-garbage time.
Yeah.
The Thunder are they're a plus 18.86. They have a 105 defensive rating and 124
with him on the floor.
With him on the floor,
which is the best mark ever, by the way. No one's been
sure. It's not gonna be in the numbers because they're including garbage time and Curry's. I had to filter garbage times out. I'm saying he's a plus 18.6, no garbage time, which is so basically when the game matters, they're the best ever. But then without SGA, no garbage time, they're a plus 7.3. That's because their defense is a 107, and their offense is 10 points worse, but their defense basically holds serve. So like it's like you're the best
11
defense.
points better with SGA.
They are they're 11 points better without SGA.
They're 11 points better.
That is ceiling raising, like crazy.
Ceiling raising, yes, ceiling raising. Floor raising, not so much.
That's what I'm saying.
Did I say floor raising?
Yeah, you said floor raising.
Oh, I mean,
Shay's having an all-time great, but I want to make like you can both be an all-time great floor raiser and ceiling raiser at the same time.
Yes.
Shay is both. A guy like Jokic is both. Steph Curry is both. Steph Curry's not the greatest floor raiser, but Steph Curry's both.
LeBron at his prime was
like, and then you got some guys who are like better floor raisers than ceiling raisers. I think Allen Iverson's a better floor raiser than the ceiling raiser. Then you got guys who are better ceiling raisers than floor raisers. Draymond Green is like the epitome of a ceiling raiser, not a floor raiser. Kevin Durant to me is more of a ceiling raiser than a floor raiser. But younger KD was both. Shay is both. He's having an all-time great ceiling raising team because of what surrounds him. So he's raising the ceiling of this team. But early on, when Chet was missing time, Hartenstein was missing time, he was floor raising that team. That was a team that was egregious offensively when he wasn't on the floor, and he was able to bring them up offensively to a certain level. But now that they've figured out the offense and Chet's come back and they're a dominant team with or without him, now we're seeing the results. Is like when Shay's on the floor, you practically can't beat this team. Like not consistently anyway. That's all-time great ceiling raising. That's 2016 Steph Curry. That's Nikola Jokic when he has great supporting cast, like whatever the case may be. That's why I think Shay's having a historical all-time great season. And it's not a pity MVP like some Jokic fans, not Swiper. Some Jokic fans have tried to paint it as like Shay's only winning it because people are tired of giving it to Jokic, or it's a pity MVP, blah, blah. No, Shay is a very well-deserving MVP, and he's having one of the best seasons, especially from a guard, we've seen, like ever, period. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, seasons from James Harden, wherever. Like Shay's in that air in terms of how good he's been this regular season. And he deserves that credit, in my opinion.
But and I think that's the thing. Like, if you level, this is why I feel what I said about Giannis yesterday, Shield. If Giannis had a better team around him, the push, like the thing is, like, if you're a superstar and you have a average team, your job is to push that team to being like one of the best in the league. That's
floor raising. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's where Tatum and stuff. That's what they do. Okay. Like we're moving to a different level. And I think the issue is that like Jokic and Giannis having such flawed rosters, they're working from a deficit by and large. And so Jokic is working from a deficit, but when he's playing, they're able to hold serve versus basically everybody or compete with.
That's why I feel like and I feel like that's why your availability is so important. I do understand, to your point, Mars, and both you and Swiper, I do understand the net rating thing. I get that part. But when we're talking about availability and we're factoring in winning, you being on the floor, we win more with you out here than we do when you're not out here.
What's every player, every star?
Right. We win with you more.
Not LeBron, but
well, LeBron shouldn't be first team All NBA. That's another discussion.
Oh, different conversation.
We win more with you on the floor than we do, and that's why I feel like with a guy like SGA, when he's playing, they are so much better when he's on the floor, and how much he affects winning on both sides of the basketball, which is why they are where they are. This team's going to win 70 games. I was thinking about what player was on a team that won 65 games or more and did not win the league MVP. I was thinking to myself,
Tatum.
Leonard in 67, Leonard in 17. He didn't win the league MVP. That was because Curry in 16. I'm sorry, and because that was because of Curry. Jordan in 97. They won 69 games that year, and Malone ended up winning it. Other than that,
Tatum and Mitchell.
No, they won 64 games.
64 games.
They won 64 games. 65.
Kevin Booker and Chris Paul was 64 as well.
Yep.
Okay. So also, arbitrary cutoff. I got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking to myself, when you have that level of guy and he's affecting winning that much, When he's like what James Harden did with that Rockets team when they won 65 games, how much was he affecting winning that year? Are they winning 65 games without James Harden on that crew? As good as they were.
They aren't winning 65 without Chris Paul leaving. That doesn't make Chris Paul the MVP.
But is it if that's how much did they improve from that season to the previous season?
Well, yeah, they made a substantial.
But they improved a lot from the previous season, but they added Chris Paul.
And then you add in what James Harden was doing during that season.
But he did that last year too. He played just as well.
And Chris Paul made his job a lot less difficult.
So why does that mean he's the MVP?
Well, because it enhanced his job.
But that's not what that is, though, Chill.
100% it is, because
you just said his team got better, so he's the MVP now.
That's why Jordan was winning it, because Scottie Pippen made his job less difficult.
Jordan was winning.
Jordan was able to do more.
No. You're back.
But was James Harden doing more in 2018 than he did in 2017?
I think that his ability, because he had Chris Paul, so now we got more open shots with Chris Paul. We got a better ball. We got another ball handler. We can play faster with that, and we got more defense on the floor.
The team got
at that time,
the
right?
team
And with the
MVP is not who has the better team.
Oh, that has a lot to do with it, Mars. Absolutely.
No, but we're here trying to deconstruct the MVP away from that foolishness. Like James Harden was my MVP in 2018. Let me make that clear. But it doesn't make sense that James Harden is being rewarded because his team made an acquisition that made the team better, and now James Harden is MVP.
Okay, wait a minute.
But he was playing just as well the year before.
Well, just because we make an acquisition personnel wise does not mean we're going to get better. So James Harden still has to play.
You add an all NBA player to the rotation.
Chris Paul gets credit for the Rockets being better with Chris Paul, not James Harden. Chris Paul.
Why Chris Paul was already an all-time great floor ranger going into that?
And that has a lot. Well, wait a minute. That has a lot to do with James Harden.
Well, without James Harden, Chris Paul was already one of the best floor rangers of since 2000. Without
that's fair. But when he gets on that Houston Rockets team is better, and James Harden has a lot to do with that Houston Rockets.
But James Harden didn't change. His effectiveness didn't change. He was always himself. You added another player to the rotation.
I'm getting better shots. I'm getting downhill more because I got a guy.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is like he was already in his prime and already an MVP player. So like
swipe it real quick, bro. My bad.
Go ahead,
we got to read the super chat from Art. Art sent through $100 super chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
He says Tatum a bum. That's why he didn't win an MVP with 64 win season.
I told you that's damn out of bounds.
That evidence, the evidence is starting to show itself.
Chill. You see that?
Starting to think that's
I thought that was his man. I thought they was cool.
No, Miami Heat and the Celtics. That's blood.
I'm talking about Bam and Tatum. I thought that was his man.
No, the Miami Heat and Celtics is always.
I do know that there's some bad blood there, but
yeah.
I mean, I do want to get back to what Mars is saying, because I know that we're trying to deconstruct what the league MVP is. And sure,
Bam, send me some bread, bro. I've been defending you for years, especially for Mars. Mars said AD better than you. Shoot, send me some money directly. Goodness gracious, go ahead, Chill.
He's sending you money.
I'm begging.
Send me some money. Send me some money.
I think Bam would agree that AD's better than him. But
no, he wouldn't.
But Swap, you sound like an IG right there.
You know what?
I think what I'm saying specifically is when I get a better player on my team, that makes me better, which in turn makes the team better. Now, just because you get a better player does not mean that the personnel can make the team better. But a guy like Chris Paul, getting him made James Harden better. Like James Harden wasn't just doing the same thing. We got the same thing going on.
What are we talking about, Chill? Can you help me?
We talking about the year he won the league MVP in 18. Because so we're clear. So we're clear.
So Cade Cunningham, 18.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. Cade Cunningham this year, he's only averaging one more bucket this year than he did last year. I think he's averaging 2 more assists. So the numbers aren't really that off. But he's much better this season than he was last year.
Chill, hold on, Chill. Just to correct you, this is what I mean. With Chris Paul and James Harden on the floor that year, no garbage time. They were a plus 14. They had an elite defense and the best offense ever, basically. But with James Harden, no Chris Paul that season, which was 1,445 minutes, they were a plus 11 that year. They were dominating. So it was
plus 11.
Chris Paul
plus 14.
Took them from an elite basketball team, which they were with James Harden, to maybe the best team in the league with Chris Paul.
They were already a better team. which would make them a better team.
That gap, that gap is not what makes James Harden the MVP. James Harden is already a great floor raiser, centerpiece by himself, who is leading an elite team as a one player, just him. When he gets Chris Paul, they move into a different tier. I mean, that's the same thing with SJ and like Chet. They're
but Swiper, that helps him though.
It's like saying the 2016 Warriors do what they do, and then you add Kevin Durant, and now Steph is better. Like
he is better.
The team's better.
Okay,
the team is
better.
Yes.
And the team is better.
Steph is better too because
he has something to do with that.
No, Steph's life is easier. That don't mean he's better.
So,
two different things.
He's not, but that makes
your job is easier. That doesn't mean you're better at your job.
You can get better because it's easier, Morris.
You can perform better because you're.
I know what you're trying to say.
That doesn't mean
performing better makes him better.
And in the case,
it doesn't. It might not. He might not give him because it might not make him faster. It might not make him stronger.
Your performance is dependent on what's around you. Your performance, everyone knows. You have trash around you, it's going to be harder for you to perform well. Right. You have great things around you. In theory, it's easier for you to perform well. That does not mean you are now better because there's great people around you.
But how do you prove that you weren't always as good?
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler just made Steph better. That's the perfect example. He just made
Steph life easier for Steph.
There are situations where you can get better, and that's fine. What I'm saying about the James Harden Chris Paul thing is the Rockets getting better was not because James Harden got better. Because when you look at how the Rockets performed when Chris Paul wasn't on the floor, they performed at basically the same level they did in 2017. They were practically the same team. The reason they were all-time dominant was because of the Chris Paul addition. It wasn't because James Harden just improved. Because when Chris Paul wasn't on the floor, James Harden plus Clint Capella, really good team without Chris Paul. Add Chris Paul into the equation, all-time dominant team. Yeah. James Harden in a vacuum as just remove James Harden from the equation of Chris Paul and the surrounding pieces, he was still James Harden in 2017.
Right.
He was the same person.
Yeah, but then when Chris Paul goes out, then he got worse again.
Well, not significantly. He was basically he was around the same, but
it got harder.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're
like Morris, I get what you're saying, but I'm not trying to just.
But chill. I guess
I get what you're saying, and I think you're right. You are right about that. Yeah. But I don't know if we're playing a semantics game. I don't want to do that. But I do feel like I did play better when things got easier. And just because I played better, I know.
I'm saying playing better doesn't mean you are better.
No, but I know.
I don't think James Harden played better in 2018 than he did in 2017.
Okay, well, if that's your argument, then that's fine. That's fine. All I'm saying is some, it's a hard discussion to have because we've had this conversation before. Like, just because somebody's playing better than somebody doesn't mean they are better. I'm just trying to. I've been for a couple seasons trying to push back on that. Like, if I'm playing better than you, I am better than you. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And so if I'm playing better this season, I'm better this season than I was last season. Is it because I had somebody come open up the floor for me a little bit? Sure, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care why I'm playing better. I'm playing better. I'm better. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. And the reason James Harden could have been better in 18 than 17. I just don't think he's noticeably better.
And then
I think he took the next leap in 2019. 2019 is when he got noticeably better. And in 2020, I think he continued that. 2017 and 2018, James Harden to me are like practically the same person. Like, there's not much difference except the team just went from we're starting Ryan Anderson and we have just a bunch of shooters and no one else who can create. So we now add Chris Paul with his all-time dominant offense. But it wasn't because James Harden majorly improved. 2019 is when he just decided to just turn into Superman. But that's just my thoughts on James Harden.
I think you're right.
He would have won 3 straight MVPs for me anyway. So whether or not he got better or not, he was an MVP 3 times in my mind. So.
Well, and chill, I guess now we're running into your. Do you? And this goes back to this year in the MVP thing. Tatum, how many games are the Celtics going to win this year?
How many have they won so far? 60.
60.
They've won 56. They've got 6 games left, so we'll assume 60.
Yeah, let's say 60. Okay. Yeah. Would you then say that? Would you say Tatum's been more valuable to his team than Jokic has because the win pace is off by 9 games?
Would I say he's been more valuable
to winning? Could say the Nuggets win 51 games. Yeah. The Celtics win 60 games this year. It's a 9-game difference. So based on what you said about like the even just like that mattering, like your impact on winning matters, would you say that he's been like a more impactful player?
You know the answer is no to that. Swipe.
No, I don't, because Tatum. That's why he's thinking about it. Like I'm saying, that's based on what he said just previously about like the MVP stuff.
But we know Jokic is more valuable to the Denver winning than Tatum is to Boston winning.
But I don't know. Chill agrees with that based on what he says though.
I was gonna say no, but I'm thinking about what Tatum brings in, because I see what you're trying. I see what you're doing with my logic and how Jason Tatum, how Joker affects winning. And yes, Jason Tatum affects winning with adding these other guys to the when you add these other guys to the lineup, that makes life a lot less difficult for him, which does make the game easier for him. A lot more open shots. Be able to read the defense a little bit better because the floor is a lot is more open. Sure, I can get with that logic. Joker, on the other hand, the personnel that he has, which is similar to what it was when he was winning the championship with, I didn't say it's the same, it's not the same, but it's similar with Gordon, with MPJ, with Jamal Murray. So it's still similar.
Don't let him off the hook, Chill.
I'm not.
They're not.
I'm not.
Swipe will sit here and try to tell you that Jokic is dragging a bunch of bums.
No, I never said that. Never.
He tried to say earlier about Giannis and Jokic, they have such bad roster.
Yes.
Like you trying to act like the Nuggets don't got no players, like Jokic is just
what I said was that they're not the same team. They're worse.
They're not the same. No, they're not the same
team. They do have a Lester over there,
but they have a hell of a squad, bro. And you always try to mess up.
Don't Ox. You're not going to pigeonhole me into something I didn't say. I'm saying they're not performing. No, but Ox, you're just yapping. They're not performing anywhere relative to what they were in 23.
You're yapping.
That's the truth.
I was gonna call you out on that bullshit about 10 minutes ago, but Mars was
nothing to call out.
was talking about something.
So wait, Ox, why do you think I have them going out in the second round this year? If that's the case, then why would I have them going out in the second round?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because they're a worse team.
Because you don't know.
Because they're a worse team.
I don't know why you say a lot of things you say, Spicer. Like I have no idea.
The question, no, I don't think so.
Maybe because you were babbling, because you were yapping. Maybe you do that a lot.
About saying they're go ahead, go Chill.
I know
we Chris Webber thing again. Go ahead.
They got a good team though, Swipe. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like stop. Like why you always trying to downplay them dudes?
See, this is what sounds so dumb about this because now we're gonna get into nonsense.
So you don't downplay the roster.
I have been telling y'all that Jamal Murray is one of the best guards in the league for a minute, and every time we do this, that dude Thing 2 over there calls him Lester because he doesn't believe in it. So I do that. So if I big up Jamal, then he gets called Lester. So if I say Jamal has averaged 23, 6, and 4 on damn near 50, 42, 92 for well over half the year now, he's one of the best guards in the league, then that guy over there is going to say he's still Lester and a bum. But on the other side of this,
I never said he was a bum. Okay.
Every time he comes to the PrizePicks segment, you got jokes to say. So now, when I say in a matchup in a Western Conference, the issue is they have multiple issues across the roster. Mostly their bench, Ox. Their bench is way worse, which is the biggest issue. Their defense is way worse. No KCP. I mentioned all this stuff. That's where the gap is. Like Jamal's better.
Their championship year. It's
Aaron Gordon is a better offensive player, but his defense has tailed off for most of the year because of injuries. Yes. And then Brown just doesn't have the defensive stuff that KCP did. Porter's had a worse defensive year than he has in the last 3 years. Brown makes a lot of. He's a really good player.
What do y'all call it? Defensive playmaking?
Yeah.
Brown's defensive playmaking.
I've been a big fan of Brown this season.
I want you to stop downplaying the kid. Like
I'm saying defensively he's been underwhelming. Offensively he's been way better than KCP. I've said this all year. But see, the thing is, if you're going to wish correctly, Ox, I think hold people accountable. But I feel like I've been very accountable to the Nuggets this year. Yep. And you got to tell your friend over there to stop hating every time I bring up Jamal Murray's name. Because I'm going to tell you,
he thinks
no, that's your brother. That's literally your blood brother. That's literally your brother.
You're yapping and you're not listening. I'm not hating on Jamal Murray by me saying that he's just not in the tier of guard that you put him in.
Lester is not hating.
I don't think it's
his less do hit quite often though.
I do think it's hard to say that.
Hold on.
He had a
Rewind.
55-point game. He had a 55-point game, and the first thing this guy says,
Swipe it.
"Oh, it's Lester the next game."
And that's
I just want to make sure that you guys heard.
Guards
I
that we
was
can
about to
take
say,
over
Go ahead,
Jamal Murray.
That's what I was about to say.
25?
That's what I was about to say.
25 around that-
I heard
around that
Ron
range.
say that there's 20 guards in the league.
Maybe.
There's
No,
20
it's-
guards in the
that-
league better than
Darius Garland, right?
And his running mate.
Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson,
Anthony
Tyrese
Edwards,
Halliburton, Cade,
Anthony Edwards, Dame.
Trae Young. Where
You didn't say
Are you taking
Ant yet.
Tyler here?
I'm going down. I go down the conference in the order that it goes in.
Do your thing.
Are you taking Tyler Hero over him?
Hold on, wait a second. Let him go. Let him get through it. Let him
Go
get
I'll
through it.
ask you guys, Tyler Hero.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
taking
not
Tyler.
taking Tyler Hero.
Yes.
I'm not taking Tyler
Okay,
Hero.
it's Ron is
No.
the one who said it.
No.
Ron is the one who said it. So count Tyler Hero. Ron is the one who said it. This was his
Tyler
decision.
Hero.
He said Tyler Hero.
Mhm.
Okay. Tyrese Maxey,
Come on.
This year,
I
all
will
right.
take Tyrese.
Yes.
I will take
Lamelo,
Tyrese.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Shea.
Okay.
Nah.
Shit.
Nah. Everybody but Shay.
Oh yeah, facts.
So we're at 11. We're at 11.
No, I feel like I do have to ask. Austin Reeves.
You see?
No.
See? It
I'm
gets a
still
little
gonna go
trickier than you
Jamal.
thought. Swipe.
No,
No, it doesn't, Ron. No, it doesn't, Ron. But okay.
I'm still gonna
Keep
go Jamal
going.
Murray.
Mhm.
Ron, who do you have? Austin Reeves or?
It's really a coin flip. So for the sake of my argument, I'll say Austin Reeves. Yes.
Okay, add Luka as well. Add
Of
Luka.
course.
Okay, how many are we at?
Like
Anyone?
13,
13.
14.
That's
Steph.
14. That's 14.
Steph,
Okay, Curry.
Okay, that's
Obviously.
15. That's 15.
and Anthony Edwards.
We already said
16.
Ant. We said Ant earlier.
I didn't count. I didn't
He
count
didn't-
Ant
he didn't
at
count
the
Ant,
time,
though.
so I'm ahead of
James Harden,
Yes.
Okay.
17.
John Morant,
Yes.
Kyrie,
Obviously.
Okay. De'Aaron Fox.
Zach Levine.
No, Ron. No.
Don't
do that, Ron. Please don't do that, Ron.
I gave him to Austin Reeves. I
Oh,
won't
this
give
is
him to
mad.
Zach.
This-
Just
I'm
to
gonna-
actually
I'm
take
okay.
Austin Reeves out, put Zach on.
This is
Okay.
mad.
Devin Booker,
Obviously.
De'Aaron Fox.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more names I can go to.
That's what,
That was like
19?
22. That was like
No, that was-
21.
Let me count. So that was Darius Garland, that was Donovan Mitchell, that was Jalen Brunson, that was Tyrese Halliburton, that was Cade, that was Dame, that was Trae Young, that was Tyler Hero, that was Tyrese Maxey, that was LaMelo. So that's 10 in the East alone.
That's 10 right there.
That's
Wait.
Shea.
Wait. So Kobe White and Josh Giddey don't get no love.
Hey,
on the West
Ron!
Coast?
Oh
I
my
swear to
God,
I'm
bro.
Ron,
Relax.
Ron,
Okay,
hey, Ron.
Relax. Nah, hold
Relax.
on.
Relax.
Ron, can I carry on my account before you
Please.
go on your shenanigans?
Please.
No,
That's
Josh
10.
Giddey and Kobe White don't get a.
Oh
and this is
God.
all I want you guys to understand. This is all I want you guys to understand. Now I know I get with the whole Lester, hee hee ha ha, but what does Kobe White look like next to Jokic?
Oh, my God.
Dribble handoffs.
nasty.
I would be curious.
No, I'm being serious. Dribble handoffs, pick
I
and
would be
rolls.
curious to see Kobe
Like,
White.
Kobe
next
White
season.
gonna get
Kobe is
50
dope.
next year.
Kobe is dope.
Oh, what
But
is okay?
you gotta remember Jamal got big
Next
plays, Jamal got big moments, big plays. He
don't
showed
do
Yeah,
up.
Ron,
but
don't do this.
is
So
the
put
only
that-
reason Kobe White doesn't have those big moments, big plays, because he's on the Bulls, or is it because he's not capable?
Well,
And
I'm glad you
because
brought
he's
that up,
younger.
Mars.
And because he's
Because
younger.
That's-
how about
that's
we
a
flip
good question,
that? How about
man.
we
That's a
flip
good
that
question.
around and we give Jamal Murray the ball and we turn him loose in Chicago? What does he look like?
What Vale said. What about Desmond Bain? Right?
He looks like he's the 12th seed. Desmond Bain.
This is nasty. But anyway, I'm sorry, Mars. We're at 10.
We're at 10.
That's-
We're at
that's where
10.
we are.
We're at 10. Shea is 11.
Okay.
Luka's 12. Steph is 13.
He counted Austin Reeves.
Ant is 14. No, he took Austin Reeves off and then put Zach Levine.
Oh,
So Ant is 14. James Harden is 15. John Morant is 16. Kyrie is 17. Zach Levine is 18. Devin Booker is 19. De'Aaron Fox is 20. So he got to 20.
But quick
Nah,
thing though.
I'm not-
Quick
So,
thing,
but
though.
you realize, but
Chill gonna trip out if I do that.
Oh, but hold on though. How he looked when y'all turned him loose and gave him the ball?
Malik
You
Monk.
talking about Malik? You talking about
Yeah.
Malik?
Oh God.
So I want everybody to
you
understand.
said it. Hey, you said it.
So this is what I'm saying about
Go ahead,
PC.
go ahead
This
and
is what I'm
count
saying
him,
about
John
PC.
D.
So I want everybody to hear what Ron, the host of PC, the uncle, the grandfather of PC, he is asserting that the next best player on the Nuggets, or what he could attest to the MVP and the best player in the world, is the 21st,
Aaron
22nd best guard in the
A
sport.
championship guard too, by the way. Swipe.
Well, no, that's fine.
Championship
But
guard.
this year he doesn't have a top 20 guard, which means basically a top 40 player on the roster with him. So I want so that's the context behind the season for the Nuggets. So Ox, when you say Ox, I'm downplaying the roster when I completely disagree with what he says. Know who you're talking to. I think John Morant has been garbage this year.
I mean,
garbage this year. You're telling me John Morant's better than Jamal.
That's still kind of irrelevant.
I didn't make this list. I did not make this list.
That's irrelevant because you don't have to have a top 40 player or
John Morant has been garbage for a good portion of the year. He can't shoot.
He hasn't been.
He turns the ball over. His defense sucks.
He's been better than Jamal Murray.
Wait, so you think Jamal Murray is a better player than Jamal?
No, had a better season than him this
year. But that's not
what
Ron was answering.
Oh,
Ron was saying
so he put Austin Reeves in there originally. So
yeah, he thinks Austin Reeves is better. He thinks Austin Reeves is better.
Cool.
That's
good.
really not ridiculous.
I'm good.
He thinks he improved. He thinks Austin Reeves improved. Norman Powell.
I mean, see, here's the thing, Swiper, because now I might be convinced.
Okay, because
now you got no. Chill. To your point, now everything you say about Joker from here on out, add the context of what we're saying.
Yes.
The reason
you can't do. No, you just did it.
Can you?
You just literally just did it.
No, I didn't.
Because he doesn't have a top 20 player on his team.
What is that gonna do with how good they are? I started by saying no. Swipe
okay, chill.
Said everything to do with it.
Answer this question. Do they have a top 20 defender on their team?
Can you let me explain what's going on?
On their team?
No, I said Swiper, stop downplaying the team that you guys have.
How am I downplaying? I'm higher on them than you are,
the
clown.
Houston Rockets are number 2 in the West, and they wouldn't have a top 40 player in the NBA. Just because you don't have top players doesn't mean you're not a good team.
This is not true. Let me explain why. No, hold on, Mars. I got it.
Because here's one of the things. Chill.
Time out. Hold on, chill. Clear out. This is why PCL is what it is. It's not about actual basketball argument. That was 100% narrative what you just said. The issue is when your floor in a regular season, and you can prove this with history, when your floor is having an elite defense and then offensive rebounding on the back of that, plus 20 points per game scores on your roster who finish within their system, that's what helps you to do that. So the fact that their floor is as high as it is and why they're the number 2 seed is relegated because their defense is
but they don't have good players.
I'm not done.
But they don't have good players.
No, that's why I'm saying you wouldn't win in PCL because you don't even argue PC logic.
You didn't win in PCL.
I don't do PCL. I'm telling you, I'm acknowledging I don't argue PCL correctly. I'm acknowledging I don't argue PCL correctly because of dumb stuff like that. If you actually watch the tape and what carries them, they have had one of the highest defensive floors the entire year. And on top of that, they still hold on, Ox. They still have players that play finish within their system at a high enough level to substantiate winning. And again, regular season over bad to mid teams. They have been lurching all year off of teams that aren't good or are mid. That's how you win 50 games in the NBA. Because you know who did it in the 2000s? The San Antonio Spurs. When they would sit their players versus the best teams in the league, and they would beat every lower or mid-tier team in the sport, and they won 50 teams every year of the Tim Duncan era doing just that, especially once you got to 2007 and on.
Very, very good.
But it was the way they played and how they managed their season. The Houston Rockets are a young team who give full effort damn near every game. Older teams don't do that. And how do you know that to be true? Because the teams at the top of the league in the Eastern Conference are the 2 of the deepest and most well-rounded rosters. And they have a bunch of young players. Hush, I'm not done. A bunch of young players at the top of the list. The Nuggets are not that. They don't have that. They don't have that.
The Nuggets on a young team?
No. So what I'm saying is the Nuggets not only are they and on top of that, it's their floor.
Houston doesn't.
No, time out. Their floor is not the same.
Are you realizing where the argument started at?
Yes, I'm 100% aware. I'm 100% aware.
Started at.
But the reason, the reason why they are where they are is because their defensive ceiling is in the garbage because of their personnel.
Stay in one place.
I'm here. I'm in the same place. I'm in the same place.
Airbender. You can't fuse.
Just say basketball. Ron, go to basketball. This is not Airbender. Avatar is not your strong suit. Go to basketball.
Go to basketball. The argument started by Ox saying stop downplaying your roster.
Who's downplaying it? I told you. I think Jamal's better than a lot of the guards that you just had on that list. A lot of them. This season, he has been. I'm not downplaying anything. The issue with you and your brain is that you can't contextualize the reason why the Nuggets have struggled this year is because their defensive ceiling has fallen off a cliff because of personnel
but you guys
and
still have
because
one of
of
the
injuries.
best offenses in the league. So
When Jokic plays, they're dominating teams.
And he
but
plays a lot.
No, time out.
And he plays a lot.
And that's what I'm saying.
He doesn't just play one half.
And this is why, Ron.
He doesn't play 3 quarters like SGA.
This is why Ron. This is why if we're having a basketball discussion, you'll never win. The issue is when Jokic
You're
leaves
not
the
winning
floor,
right now, Swiper.
When Jokic, Ron, you're just yelling. When Jokic leaves the floor,
which one?
When Jokic leaves the floor, they are not a good basketball team. So when your floor is in hell without your best player on the floor, you're going to lose those minutes. And meanwhile, you're going to lose games.
And why are they losing those minutes when Jokic isn't on the floor? Now go ahead and make my point again.
Because they have the best player in the sport.
No. When he's off the floor, why aren't they winning?
Because the personnel is not good enough because of their defense.
That's what I said. I said y'all not that good.
No,
the rest of your roster isn't that good.
They're
why?
Deep. Man, this is so stupid.
No, now don't get mad now. Don't get mad now. When
I'm not even upset.
Argument,
this is what I'm saying.
See,
okay, go ahead,
this
Ron.
is why I can't get in the PCL. This is why David Shaq won't let me compete in the PCL. This is why
their offense falls apart and their defense isn't good.
Non-knowing ball fools like you. The only ball you know is that nut on top of your head. Take off that hat. That's
so
the only ball you know.
Non-basketball again. So again, Ron, because this is the issue. This is the issue. The Nuggets defense gets worse, and their offense is 11 points worse when Jokic doesn't play.
Without the best player in the league. Not
That's
only have
so
they not
dumb.
done that,
Like you sound dumb when you talk about basketball.
Has played with Joker the entire season. To add Houston into this, who has not had that all year long. They only had Joker off the floor for stretches, and you're going to add in the Houston Rockets, who hasn't had that all year long and had to play with Sengun, had to play with Jalen Green, had to play with Jabari, had to play with all of these guys a specific way the entire season. Meanwhile, the Denver Nuggets, who have had Joker, the best player in the league, please don't leave that out, only for stretches, to add those two teams together is not even close to the same thing, Ron. What the hell are we doing?
Chill. Swiper tried to say that the Nuggets don't have good players.
No, I didn't say that.
So
that's not what I said. Again, Ron, you have a hearing problem? Do you need my hearing aid? Because you don't listen. I never said that. That was never my conversation.
According to you,
why?
We don't have good players. Why are we good?
Didn't say that one bit.
And Ron, you actually was convincing me.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You just
don't
listen.
I think the thing is,
Ron, you was actually convincing me that Joker's
like you just don't listen.
I'm thinking to myself, if
like it's literally one ear and out the other way.
He doesn't have a top 20. Not only a top 20 guard.
He is the league MVP, but that doesn't mean he has an amazing roster.
What? Well, which side are you on now? That the roster is mid or is good? Which one? Which could?
No,
that's probably different than what you said earlier.
I never switched up. The roster is mid.
So how am I downplaying the roster if I'm telling you the holes in the roster that change why the team is really
I agree with that.
I'm the one who said that you're downplaying the roster.
Yes, I agree with them. And the point I'm trying to make is
I gave you the context behind why though, and you're still arguing a bad point.
And we understand that context. We understand when Jokic isn't on the floor, they lose the minute. They are the worst team in the league. He floor raises to a crazy level. We understand that. The point that I'm trying to make is you can still win with players that aren't top 40, top 50, top 60, a la the Houston Rockets, a la the Detroit Pistons. And
you named defensively inclined teams, by the way, and I already brought that up about the Houston Rockets.
Offensively inclined teams.
They're not. That's the point.
Now y'all don't have a good offense.
No, that's what I'm saying, Ron. You don't. That's what I'm saying. You don't do a good job, Ron. If you're going to ask,
how are you winning games?
Because they have the best player in the league on their team.
This is what I'm saying. Like
that's probably why.
And what does he do? He makes you guys' offense better because he doesn't make your defense better. He makes your offense better.
What? No, Ron. This is what I'm saying. Their offense is 11 points better. It's a 20-point swing
and he's
with
on
him
the
and
team.
without him.
He's on the team.
And they're winning when he plays, Ron.
No,
you moron.
they're winning because he's on the team.
So
I get that.
So Ron, if they're so then tell me help me understand the formula.
So
if he's off the floor and the team is worse, would that not mean that they're going to lose minutes and lose games without him? If they're 4-8 without him this year, what does the math tell you, Ron? They're 4-8 when he doesn't play this year.
I can take defenders off the Houston Rockets and say they're not as good without a Min and Tari and Jabari. They fall off.
And who are they beating? And they didn't beat. And they're not beating anybody in those games either.
The same Houston Rockets team that their success is built on that. Imagine that, Ron. If you took that off,
and even this year, this is why we can do this. We can keep doing this, Ron. Like the reason why I'm going to go to this right now. I'm going to go to this right now. Because even what you're saying, so even this year with the Rockets without Şengün and without Jalen Green, again, you can look all of this stuff up. So if you pull up just the numbers from this year for that team, how are they performing? Let me tell you, because this is the part of the conversation. So this year, with both of them on the court, they're barely winning their minutes. They're an average team. When neither one of those players play in 585 minutes, guess what, Ron? They're still winning their minutes. Why? Because their defense is still good. We're talking about Şengün and Jalen Green.
No. Do what you're doing with Jokic. Since you guys are an offensive-driven team and Jokic drives your offense up, tell me what the Houston Rockets are without a Min, Jabari, and Tari, their best defenders. It doesn't make no sense for you to go to Jalen Green and Şengün when they're a defensive-driven team.
I'm going to their best players.
Go to the
Why would I not take their best players off?
They are good because they're driven by defense.
They are driven by their defense.
So don't give me their offensive players. Give me their defensive players.
That makes no sense. So don't use their best players. Don't use their best players.
No.
Go to
the players that you're saying drives them to wins. They're defensive players. What are they without? No, as a matter of fact, no. Fred VanVleet, thank you, Penn. Fred VanVleet and the men, what are they without those two?
I think with any assortment, we probably are positive, but that's just because we're good.
No, Fred VanVleet and the men. I want to see what.
Without Fred VanVleet and Amin Thompson on the court, they're winning their minutes.
Now this.
I'm literally staring at it. 546 minutes, they're winning their minutes. What else do you want? What else would you like?
Okay.
So are you acknowledging that you have another dumb basketball point? Because you don't know.
I want the record to show we are a plus 0.66.
Which is they're winning, and that's what I'm saying.
Just to let everyone know that.
How far down does it drop?
We were winning our minutes by
with both of them on the floor. They're a plus 6. Without them, they're a plus 0.6. What?
But that's
they're still winning their minutes.
No, they're winning their minutes, but it drops significantly. So
what are the numbers without Jokic?
So technically, if we're winning by 0.6 points per 100 possessions, like you can't win by 0.6 points. So we're technically playing teams to win.
So what are the Nuggets without Jokic then, Ron?
No,
just answer the question.
Obvious, Jokic is the
just answer the question. Tell me what the number is. I'm bringing you numbers. You're just yapping.
I don't know the numbers, Swiper.
Also, you're just yapping.
Obviously, it drops
agenda and narrative. I got you.
Obviously, it drops significantly. The point I'm trying to make is y'all just like the Rockets don't play without Amin Thompson and Fred VanVleet. You guys don't play without Jokic.
They do.
So it doesn't
He has to leave the floor. He has to leave the floor.
Yes, and he comes back on the floor.
They can't survive those minutes.
Let him breathe, Ron. Damn.
They can't survive the minutes without him on the season, Ron.
They seem to be surviving.
What?
Okay.
Wait, John D. How do you come to that?
They seem to be surviving. You guys were the 4th seed. You're 47 and 30. Just like the Rockets seem to be surviving without
Ron. What is their win pace without Jokic this year?
What do you mean? What is their win pace without Jokic? Are they without Jokic this year? Yes or no? This is why.
Are they without Jokic? They have played 12 games. Ron, the conversation we just had is about on-off.
You're trying to bring up.
No, I'm not. I'm going in the same conversation we just had, Ron. You just brought up on-off about Fred VanVleet and Amin Thompson. I gave you the numbers. I just gave you on-off with Jokic, and they're horrible without him in the game. And I'm also saying without him playing this year, they're 4-8. So what does that tell you?
Okay, but is Jokic
playing? That would then explain why they are where they are, right?
Is Jokic playing?
Yes.
Does he play a significant amount of minutes? Yes, they lose the minutes that he's not on the floor, but he plays most of the game, which allows you guys to win games.
Okay, quick question,
Ron, but that stuff matters to some people.
Some people play and lead you guys to wins. Yeah, okay, he sits 3 minutes in the second quarter. You guys lose 5 points. Okay, and then he comes back in, y'all finish the half, and you guys go into the half winning.
Ron, do you understand? Ron,
do
you see? This is the thing. I think you lack the understanding of why that's so
Swiper,
important.
I know
Hold
more
on, Ron,
basketball
stop.
than you will
To be
ever
a
forget.
minus 10
I will
when
forget
you're
more
not
basketball than you'll ever
playing,
know.
as opposed to winning the minutes when you're not playing.
I have no understanding when it comes to this basketball shit, and I need you
Ron,
to understand
if you're a minus
your
10
basketball
when you're
mind
not
can't wrap
playing,
around what my
that's a
basketball
big
mind has,
difference
okay?
between being a 0.6, Ron. You literally are sinking into the ocean without Joker. There's no other context like that among these other stars.
John D, what you
That's
doing?
what I'm telling you.
Hey, John
That's
D.
what's happening.
Look in.
John Diesel.
John D, go ahead and ask your question.
So unprofessional.
My camera moves on its own. That's on me. Thank
Why
God.
would it move down
That's
there?
that's a dangerous camera.
That's a risky.
Thank God I have some pants on. But I was gonna ask one. Do you think that what Swiper is getting to is the two best players in the league, or the two of the top three best players in the league, could have better rosters built around them? I think Denver's lack of a backup center has been a problem for a while. I think the fact that some of their best defenders limit them offensively so much. I think Peyton Watson still limits them offensively. Zeke Naji has been a really good defender for them. He limits them offensively. Aaron Gordon, who has a really good offensive game and has struggled in the defensive end this year. I think they need to bring in more two-way players instead of having guys that stand so far on one end than the other. Like, and then if we look at the Bucks, I think the Bucks still lack some athleticism. I still think they lack some point of attack defense. I think what Swipe is trying to get at is the two best players in the league, or two of the top three best players in the league, are just still lacking the proper roster construction that guys like Tatum are getting, guys like SGA are getting, to where if you were to have better two-way players that could affect both sides of the floor, I think that would be better for Jokic, because Jokic does a really good job at floor raising
John, I
the
think
offense.
we can all agree that, though. Like, I think
that's what I'm saying. But like
that the Nuggets don't have that great of talent around, and that's where this whole thing started at.
That's why I was saying, Ron, that you can, when you told me, when you ran down the list of guards and you telling me about Jamal Murray, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I got the best player in the league, and I don't have, according to Ron, not only a top 20 guard, I might not have a top 30, top 40 player in the game. It might not be 40 players in the game.
I've been saying this about the Nuggets all
and
season.
if that's the case, and what Joker is doing, and having this team as a top 3, top 4 seed, I don't know how much more significant he could possibly be. Since
You got to when you're doing conversations like that, I think it's best in basketball, and I've said this multiple times. Y'all all know I've said this. I don't like the 1 through 30, 1 through 40. You're the 40 best. Nah, you got it, because on a day-to-day basketball, night to night basis in basketball,
sure, it's a
tier thing. Because on any given night, Jamal Murray's better than a lot of them dudes we named, Tyler Hero, Zach LaVine, all them dudes. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the fact that he doesn't have a top 30 guard. It's the fact that he has a lower second tier or a second tier guard. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Jamal Murray is not a bum. He's far from a bum. MPJ is a good basketball player. Aaron Gordon is a phenomenal basketball player. Christian Brown gets Brown. I'm sorry. I think he's a hell of a basketball player. They have a good roster. That's all I'm saying. And to Ron's point, you don't need 3 top 15 guys to be a good basketball team. You know what I'm saying? This is basketball. This isn't. I don't know. I'm not sure if it lands, but this isn't baseball. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to have the best bullpen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to have a good team. And then when things like this happen, and I've seen Swiper transform right before my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Start getting cooked and start calling people saying, "Oh, you're dumb," this and that. I've seen this story before, Swiper.
When did that happen?
Sometimes you just got to. Oh man. I'm not gonna get into that, bro. But it's like, I've seen this story before, Swipe, and it's okay. I shouldn't have brought it up. You know what I'm saying? That's my bad, Joe. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. I know this is a sensitive spot for you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think we're necessarily dumb in when it comes to basketball. Maybe I think
the points that were being made were dumb, and I explained them multiple times. But Ron is insistent on yelling about things that I didn't bring up, and so I'm going to call those points dumb 100% of the time.
Oh, that's fine.
Especially because you won't listen. Like,
I thought it was some unintelligent points made as well, but
that's what I'm trying to understand, Ron. If I'm bringing you like actual information about how we get there,
so
if I'm telling you how we got there, and then you're telling me things that are not based on any information that I'm bringing to the table, I don't even know how we arrived to a conversation about where we are. Because at that point, it's just a yelling debate. Like, I'm telling you, this is how we got here with this Denver team. I don't think that they're a bad team. I think they're a good team. I think Jamal Murray's better than a lot of y'all think he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just facts.
So
but I'm telling you the reason why they're not where they are.
Do you want to eat your cake or do you not want to have no cake? So are they good or is Jokic just carrying them? Which one is it?
I think it's a mix of both of those things, but I think they're flawed, which is why they will lose. If you're that flawed and you have that big of an Achilles heel, you're probably going to lose. Which is why their regular season records indicative of that. Which is why they have the third best offense in the league and like the 22nd best defense in the league. That's a big deal.
And Joker clearly ain't carrying that.
All right, y'all. Well, Kobe Cheeser said the Thunder will be exposed in the playoffs when analyzing their wins. So many starters on the opponent's side sit out. It's surprising. Only 10% of their wins come against a healthy starting five. Is this true?
So when they were missing Chet, that didn't matter?
I guess not.
Or when they were missing iHeart, or when they missed J-Dub for a stretch, that didn't matter. But yeah,
and when Boston came to Oklahoma City, they had their whole five, 100%. That was going on. And when Cleveland came to Oklahoma City, they had their whole five.
And
they had their whole crew.
OKC had neither big men.
No, they didn't. And they dump trucked them dudes.
14 points in the first quarter.
100% dump trucked them dudes. Yes, they did. So
Average Joe said, I hate this argument of Denver is awful without Joker when their entire system is built around him. That doesn't mean the talent on the team isn't good. They did this with Braun too. Shaking my head.
I do kind of agree with that.
P Finn became a YouTube member. Shout out to P Finn. Money Mirror GS became a YouTube member, and so did Goose, Cole, and Julian Rodriguez. Shout out to all of them. Appreciate y'all for joining up. If you're not a member yet, become a member right now and turn on your notification bell. MP13 said, isn't Josh shooting like 35% from the field against OKC this year? They are about to put him in Pelican Bay. Shoe program. Series is over in 2 games. They are unserious.
Yeah, it will be a very ugly series for John and Jared.
I'm not a fan of that matchup for anyone on Memphis.
I think they serve him in 4 games. I do. Maybe 5 tops.
Alejandro Soto said, what's up, PC? Purely in terms of athleticism, how comparable is Amen Thompson to Michael Jordan?
If you're looking at young MJ, like, it's not the speed, the leaping ability, the time they have in the air, the change of direction. I think Amen is literally one of the most underrated athletes we've ever seen. So it's comparable.
I don't know, because it's hard for me to say, because I think instinct says Michael Jordan is more athletic. But then I look at it as like, does MJ look more athletic than Amen because
he turned into who he turned into?
Well, I was going to say that, just with all due respect, he looks like more of an outlier compared to what he was going against, as opposed to what Amen looks like.
So we got an air text. All right.
Nobody was like
kind of. Yeah, like
I'm watching.
If you take Amen Thompson and put him in 1987 with one leg, it's like.
Yeah. If you take Amen Thompson and put him in 1987, he looks a lot different than he does today. Because it's a bunch of dudes that's super duper athletic today. A bunch.
So I don't know. My gut is saying MJ is more athletic because I think the agility mixed with I think he hung in the air longer, and I still do think the first step was just something I've never seen before. So I think MJ is probably more athletic, but I do think Amen Thompson is on that short list of some of the most athletic players of all time. I don't know where he would fall on that list. I don't have a list, but he's one of the most athletic players I've ever seen.
Average Joe said, philosophical question. I think Kobe said this once too. If you truly make your teammates better, then they shouldn't completely die when you aren't there, right? This is not a shot at any player.
Yes, and like making your teammates' life easier does not mean you are making them better, which is kind of what I was saying earlier. I will put a name to it. Like these pure playmakers who make their teammates better, whether that be LeBron James or Nikola Jokic, I think they make their teammates' lives easier. So when you're on the floor with them, you have the easiest job imaginable, whether that's just cut at the right time, shoot a spot up through whatever, and then that's your job. But making someone better is how good physically are you. I think Chris Paul factually makes his teammates better. Like, I think you play with Chris Paul, you are a better basketball player after that. Chris Paul leaves you, you are now a better basketball player because of Chris Paul's impact. That's someone making you better. So making your life easier when you're on the court with me doesn't mean I'm making you better. I might make you more effective while you're out there with me, but that's the difference between being more effective and being a better player. Because effectiveness is based on what's around you and your circumstances. Who's better is based on your skill set and what you actually bring to the table, which is why I say they're two different things. Chris Paul makes people better. I will die on that hill. Chris Paul makes players better. And
Mars, that's how you cook.
Thank you. Yeah, John D, look out. Yeah, look out, John D. Yeah, you're in danger.
Like a J Kidd. Even when he was older, he was making players better, like at the Knicks and stuff like that. Like, that's a great point.
Kobe Cheeser said Jokic fits the obvious MVP. You could replace SGA with Brunson, Booker, or another great scorer, and the Thunder would be in the same place. Who could replace Jokic's value?
No,
I definitely don't think you can replace Booker with SGA or Brunson.
No,
but,
you cannot.
Jalen Brunson.
Wait a second, though, John D. Wait a second.
I think no one is equating SGA's impact. I think that part of the chat is stupid. I think Brunson could get the closest to it of anyone in the NBA.
What with just like getting to the free throw line, playing in the mid range.
What OKC asks of Shea, I think Brunson is the only player in the NBA who could equate that in any sort of capacity. No one else plays quite like what Shea does, other than maybe Jalen Brunson. That's why I think he could do something similar. They would not lose. They would be worse, but I think Brunson is the closest to it, and that's purely offensively, ignoring the defensive value of Shea. Ignoring.
See, and that's why. See, when you go that way, that's why I'm like, you throw Ant in that situation. I think
the decision making is just not enough for me.
I just think if Ant just pure killer, like, because the defense ain't gonna drop. The defense might get a little better. You know what I'm saying? I could see Ant or Jalen Brunson being put in that situation and still having a similar outcome. Obviously, I do think SGA might be a. I don't know if I think SGA is better than Ant necessarily, but I do think that. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I think SGA is better than Ant if you put him in that same situation.
Wow.
If you put Ant over there in OKC, y'all can shake your head. Chill. I don't think that's crazy to say. I think Ant, you replace SGA with Anthony Edwards. Hell yeah.
I don't think he's a versatile enough scorer. I don't think he's a versatile enough scorer. I don't think his handle's good enough. No. I don't think his playmaking is good enough.
He doesn't have to get the same shots. He doesn't have to look the same. But I think as far as outcome,
that's one of the main reasons why
I think that's slightly worse.
Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
It don't have to look the same, but he's gonna put the ball in the basket too.
Rod said, "Are there 10 shooting guards better than Kobe White? I think not. Why doesn't Matas get talked about like he should be? He is one of the best young rim protectors."
Matas was mine and Ron's rookie of the year pick. I will say that. So shout out to me and Ron. We was on the train. Donovan Mitchell is better than Kobe White.
Anthony Edwards is better than him.
Tyler Hero. I guess we can have that conversation.
Anthony Edwards.
Austin Reeves may be better than Kobe White, so that would be 3.
Yep.
Anthony Edwards would be another one. That would be 4.
Devin Booker.
Desmond Bain. I'll have the conversation. Zach LaVine, Devin Booker. I don't know how many that is. And then you get to like the role player shooting guard, so like a Derek White. Yeah, I guess Mikal. Or you want to put an inefficient guy, Jalen Green. Yeah.
Jalen Green is better than Kobe White.
Yeah, facts. Tell Kobe White to win some games.
Yes. Jalen Green is better than him. Zach LaVine is better than him too.
Mr. Cox said, watching the PCL debate, Swiper got 3-0 by real talk. That's crazy.
I see why.
Swiper,
I don't think it was 3-0. I think it was 2-1 because the only sweeps from me and Ox. So you got 2-1s.
Yeah, I see why.
Yeah, he bum.
Juke Giles said the OKC disrespect in the media needs to stop. I can't wait until the playoffs to show people. And Swiper hating on Twitter, laughing emojis. SGA MVP.
What's the disrespect, Juke?
That's what I'm saying. I think
what's
what
the disrespect
I have learned is people genuinely don't listen to anything
They
I
don't.
say.
What are you
Because
talking about?
I think I've been talking about this for I don't know how long. I literally my first debate and then the PCL was the Thunder are the most impressive team in the league, and I think I lost that one because
Remember who we talking about, those
Even
white.
with
We
all the
talking to
numbers and
fans,
stuff,
and if you don't
so.
think that if you
No,
don't
it's
think they're the best team in the
it is
league,
what it is,
then
bro.
you're a
It's just-
hater. That's
just
what
the way
it
it's
is.
just the way the tide rose, dog. It's just the way the tide was.
Void Century said, Heat Nation, fuck it. I'm buying in. We winning the chip this year. 6-game win streak. Whooping Chill's fraudulent team's ass. Bam had Tatum in Azkaban? Shooting
Azkaban.
tour dates?
That's a Harry Potter reference.
Come on,
Harry
man.
Potter, shout
Do
out
better
Azkaban.
than that, man.
I didn't watch that game. Jason Tatum was like 4 for 17.
Garbage, trash.
But when Jalen Green do it, trade him. Interesting. Interesting.
10K Prime said, do you think LeBron and Jordan debate affected LeBron getting more MVPs?
I think it's possible.
I definitely the way they be like, they will bring MJ out of nowhere. Like,
But I don't think LeBron deserved any more after he won his 4th one, though. So, in that regard, no.
The only one I'm thinking about,
I think the
18
MVP LeBron
18
deserved was 11. I don't think any other one he was robbed.
after
18 for me, the argument was 18 and 20.
I don't
20
think
more
for me
than-
is out.
20 for
20
me
more
is
than
one of the
18.
more clear-cut ones I've seen. Like, Giannis was so far and away the MVP to me.
No, he wasn't, man. If
I don't
Kobe
get how
doesn't
you're the
start
best
that-
defender in the sport and you're
Come on,
leading an
man.
all-time dominant regular season team and you're not clearly the MVP.
And he was doing and no, I'm not doing that.
It doesn't make sense to me. He's the best offensive and defensive player on an all-time dominant regular season team and was the best defender in the regular season.
And that
Chill,
Los
chill,
Angeles,
don't
and
worry
that,
about it.
That's like Shea's case, but better.
Chill, you could cook more on this later. We'll get to this
yes.
another time.
Mhm.
But I just want you guys to know that this Friday we will be on Playback with you guys' favorite person on Playback, Penn, watching Penn's Raptors play against Kay Cunningham and the Pistons. So you guys pull up, enjoy some good hoops with us. Pistons versus Raptors. It should be a good one, and it should be a good time. Also, this Saturday, like the day after Friday, this will be dropping another episode of the Parlay, episode 6.
Oh, football.
This time we will transition over to football and talk about who will be a better quarterback, Archie Manning or Shadur Sanders. Swiper steps into the arena against Big Bama, and you guys just got to pull up to see what happened. And last but not least, a little later today, there will be another show that's on the Player's Choice platform that's called Chill with Chill. Episode 100 today. Maybe they'll pull out something tricky from their bag of tricks that they got. But episode 100, Chill with Chill. You guys pull up and see what they got to say about Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. In the meantime, y'all, we got more super chats. I got one from Jake. Jake said, I'm about to get real nasty, but did Kobe deserve it in 08 over Chris Paul? Pelicans had one less win than LA, and CP3 led the league in steals and assists.
I said I could make the Chris Paul argument if I wanted to.
All right. Pip named Slickback said, speaking of what Mars said about Triple J in the second apron, a lot of Celtics insiders believe that Jaylen Brown will be traded this summer. Thoughts?
I think so too. That's why I think they got to
so.
win it, because I think that I don't think they break. I don't think they're breaking up the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum tandem, but I do think that this is going to be a completely different team next season, just off the strength of the bread. I don't think that this crew is going to be together.
Isn't KP like off the books after next year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the first guy to
He's on a 3-year extension.
Yeah, so that might be the guy.
Brian Logan said, Swiper claimed last year that Luka was DQ'd from the MVP talks because balling in losses doesn't matter. But now Jokic doing it, and he should be the MVP.
Again, if we're gonna continue just to like segment what I say into the totality, then I get it, I understand it. It's just a part of it.
Jacko VX said 2010's bust. Evan Turner, Derek Williams, Jan Vesely, MKJ, that's Michael Kidd Gilchrist, Thomas Robinson, Jared Culver, Mario Hazonia, Wesley Johnson, Alex Lynn, Dante Exum, Stanley Johnson, Josh Jackson, Marvin Bagley. Man, they didn't have to end on that last note. Money sent through a super chat and said, hating on the panel is my sole purpose in life. God created me with no talent, no good looks. I'm not smart, just a burning desire to hate on you all.
As long as you recognize who you are.
Shout out to you, bro. If you're gonna be a hater, be the best hater you can be.
Redigging up $100 super chat from Arch, and also I miss Arch Prime, I miss Arch Toddler, and I obviously miss the GOAT Arch Diddy. But just regular Arch sent through this super chat and said, Tatum a bum. That's why he didn't win an MVP with 64 win season. There you go. Realist 123 said the problem with Denver is not only the defense, but they don't have another go-to ball handler other than Jokic and Murray. Every team has at least 3 guys.
One of them.
Realist 123 also said the Warriors are getting packed up tonight. We winning by 15. Lakers, Warriors, who y'all got tonight?
LA.
Take the Lakers.
I hope they both lose.
Nonchalant nigga sent through a super chat. Nonchalant nigga said, how was Giannis not the clear MVP in 2020?
Because the Los Angeles Lakers, before the season was shut down by COVID, were on pace to win as many games, if not more, than the Milwaukee Bucks. LeBron James was leading the... Nope. I'm good. I know we got to move on.
There you have it, nonchalant nigga. Average Joe with 2 super chats. The first one, he said, Big Ox, would Dort, Joe, Wiggins, and even J-Dub be this good if they played with Ant instead of SGA? Not hiding my SGA propaganda anymore.
Yes. How does SGA make them niggas better? What? Who SGA supposed to be? He a baller, definitely certified. But yes, they would. Yes, they would. That's it. Because I don't want to make it seem like I'm disrespecting SGA because I think he's a phenomenal basketball player. But yes, he don't make them dudes better. If anything, they make him better.
Jerome Autry said, carrying a wheelbarrow doesn't make you better, Swiper. Impressive, but not better. No wisdom.
Did I say that 4 raises make somebody better than the other? Well.
Your Highness Charles said, cut Swiper some slack. He's getting belted ass right now on Twitter by OKC, Mavs, and Lakers fans. He dug his own grave with his terrible MVP takes.
Yep, that I've made on video several times. But
are you in a war on Twitter right now?
I'm not in a war. I think people are taking things that I said last year and they're bringing them up again for sure. So yeah, we're here.
All right, y'all. Last but not least, Average Joe said, AD leading the Lakers in damn near every statistical category in 2020, but we say Bron should have beat Giannis for the MVP. How, OG?
AD leading the... I know we got to go. I know we got to go.
All right, y'all. Well, it has been an amazing show, and we'll be back tomorrow for another amazing show. Y'all be sure to tap into the games tonight because we are going to talk all about them tomorrow on the show. Like the video, turn on your notification bells, and we'll see you guys on Chill with Chill in a couple hours.
Later.
Eat it, Ox.